Bring back fresh pots, please. What are you talking about? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, JT. Happy Friday to all of you. Cutthroat Comics, good to see you. Bat Stan, welcome. I knew you'd be here, Bat Stan. Friday the 13th, based off of the hit movie, Nightmare on Friday, Elm Street. How was the NHL Stanley Cup Finals? Oh, you're asking Gamer that. I have no clue. Edmonton, something. Bring back fresh pots. Oh my God, you guys. This is for the old school, man. Happy? There you go. Oh. I saw your comment in the Discord. So I wanted to add that just for a fun little, hey, remember that? Remember when we used to do that thing like a year ago or whatever? Before I spent all my I spent all my work and I spent all my time sweating over that new intro just to hear play fresh pots again. What's up, Dave? Thanks for hanging out again in the studio. Appreciate that. He always takes these trips to LA. And from LA, sorry, to here. And I really appreciate him doing that. WillyLo will be along shortly. He's been tied up with some business. In the meantime, we're going to have some coffee, chill out. It's Friday. I don't really feel like being super loud. Maybe I will be. I don't know. Who remembers September 13th, 1993? Who was around back then, September 13th, 1993? So that's what the cover story is about. That is Mortal Monday. Now, for those of you who don't know, that's when Mortal Kombat came home to the consoles. So first and foremost, it came to Super Nintendo and it came to the Sega Genesis. And both had pretty significant differences. Now, I will say ahead of time, I am going to do a video on Mortal Kombat coming home because I think it's a really important topic in gaming history and one that I've wanted to cover. And it's one that we often talk about on the channel too. This was the birth of the ESRB when Joseph Lieberman attacked gaming, said video games were too violent and wanted to put a stop to all of that. That included, of course, Digital Pictures Night Trap thrown into that as well. So I think it's a really important topic. But this was Super Nintendo and the Genesis both came out. And much like when Street Fighter II The World Warrior came out, it was very important because, hey, we could practice Mortal Kombat and then go to the arcade and whip some butt. I mean, at least that's what I thought. Did that really happen? Nah, kind of, sort of. Mortal Kombat 1 was never my jam back in the day. I certainly appreciate it more now, but I really got into Mortal Kombat with MK2. Gamer, good to see you. Edmonton won. The whole thing. They won the Stanley Cup. That's it. It's over. Well, that's great. We do have a goal in place for today. If we hit 5 super chats during the stream, I will do a bonus Friday the 13th stream. Because today is Friday the 13th. Oh, the series is tied at 2. Okay. Man, it's friggin' June, dude. It's like mid-June. And it amazes me that it's mid-June and hockey. Like, these guys don't get a break, man. It's not like football. Football, they get like 15 months off, right? Like hockey, they have to go all the way until, like, they have like 2 weeks off, then they have to start the next season. Where will I wear a hockey mask? I gave all my masks away to you guys. I have no more masks. Nothing. No, we'll play Friday the 13th. How are we going to play Friday the 13th? I'll show you. Friday the 13th on Nintendo Switch. Now, this is a really, really awesome game that came out in 2017 from Gun. Now, this game has been discontinued, but I will spoil a little bit of our latest game hunting video. I was hunting for this, and I did find it. What is so special about the Nintendo Switch version? Well, the Nintendo Switch version graphically is not as great as the others. However, this one has bots. So although Friday the 13th has been completely discontinued, the servers are gone, they're dead. Game is essentially dead. You can't play it if you log on. It just says too bad. This one you can play with bots. So if we hit our goal today during this stream, I'll do a bonus stream where we play this and just have some fun with Jason and terrorize some camp counselors. So if you guys are looking to play this, you guys know how I love to preserve gaming history. That's why I wanted this one, just so we could actually play it, and we can play it whenever we want, regardless of the servers being online or not. Graphically, it's not as nice, but it's pretty dang close. Pretty dang close. And check this out. It was a sealed copy, so shout out to Big Time Gamers. Don't worry, it's not a huge spoiler. We got lots of goodies coming up in our next game hunting video. I got a sweet little poster, too. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Hide. You have to hide from Jason. He's coming to get you this minute. It's pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Now, not a lot of game companies do stuff like that anymore, so it's really cool to see Gun do that. And the kicker, this is the Ultimate Slasher Edition, meaning it comes with all the skins and all that stuff, right? It comes with all the skins, all the counselors and their different outfits. But what's hilarious about that is that because it's offline now, you can't level up, you can't get experience points, so you can't really unlock anything. But it's still cool to be able to play the game. That's the most important part. So let's hope we hit that, and we'll do that today. All right, let's kick it old school. We're going back to June 1993, my friends. June 1993 for Mortal Monday. Well, this is a preview of Mortal Monday because, as we know, that is September. So we'll crack this issue open. Don't you love that smell? Oh my God, I love the smell of EGM. Can you smell it? Can you? Batman Returns on the Super Nintendo. Oh my golly. That's exciting. Capcom smart. Very smart. We're going to read Will's part. We're going to do Ed's. So this is an editorial. I have no idea. I'm guessing on the state of Street Fighter 2. And where we are now in gaming history is the World Warrior has been released. We are seeing Champion Edition now. Sega coming back, getting Capcom to put Champion Edition on Genesis. And then we see Super Nintendo will fire back with Street Fighter 2 Turbo. So really interesting time, especially if you like Street Fighter and fighting games. What's up, Bowler? Good morning. Good to see you. When you hear the name Capcom, the first thing that probably comes to mind is Street Fighter 2. Wrong! Resident Evil. However, Resident Evil does not exist at this point in history. Face it, Street Fighter 2 is the Pac-Man of the 90s. And Capcom is making the most of it. Anytime a game sells in the millions, we're dealing with serious coins here. That is not even considering jillions of dollars coming in for licensing rights and royalties from letting others use the characters. Buy a pair of Street Fighter 2 underwear, and a few cents goes to Capcom. Who's buying Street Fighter 2 underwear? Who bought Street Fighter 2 underwear? Besides Cutthroat, who still wears the original 1992 Street Fighter underwear to this day. Despite it having holes, he doesn't care. He still wears it because that's what they do where he lives. There is nothing wrong or secret about this. That's big business in the big city. If it isn't Street Fighter 2, it's Turtles or Bart Simpson or hundreds of other popular characters. In fact, we have to compliment Capcom on the excellent job they're doing, keeping Street Fighter alive and thriving. Woo-wee! Excellent, excellent. You can still find good and bad, however, in every deal. The story starts with Capcom becoming a licensee for Sega. As a result of Street Fighter 2's influence on 16-bit Nintendo sales, it's understandable that Capcom of Japan and the Big N are close. I always love it how the editors at EGM always call Nintendo the Big N. Is that cool? I don't know if it's cool. I just call them Nintendo, right? I don't know. The games alone pushed the Super Nintendo ahead of the Genesis in terms of total system sales last summer. Now, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, which is the version that all serious Street Fighter 2 players have been waiting for, is coming out on Genesis. It couldn't have been a pretty sight in the boardroom. Nintendo heard this. This version could start a rash of new Genesis system sales that gave Sega the lead again. If you guys remember, the licensing deal that Nintendo had when you became a licensee for them, you couldn't have a title on any other system for 2 years. So is this not a fault of their own licensing? Do you know what I mean? Because now Sega is getting Street Fighter, and it's not the same. They're getting Street Fighter Champion Edition. You know what I mean? From the business standpoint, Capcom is again maximizing its exposure. Bringing Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition out on the Super Nintendo would hardly have made a big impact as it appeared on a whole new system. Back on the Japanese home front, however, Nintendo certainly isn't happy. So Capcom of Japan tells Nintendo that it will bring Street Fighter 2 Turbo. There's no Street Fighter 2 Turbo Champion Edition. It's just called Street Fighter 2 Turbo EGM. Holy. To Nintendo's 16-bit system, and quickly issues are very untimely for Sega. Press release, screenshots of the new game. Nintendo sees big dollar signs, and Capcom of Japan is back on good terms with the Mario men. So is everybody happy? Well, not quite. There just happens to be minor detail about the deal between Capcom and Sega that eventually slipped Capcom's mind. Instead of walking to the bank while millions of gamers worldwide head to the Sega and then switch gears again to seek out Nintendo for the latest Street Fighter 2 update, Capcom has shot a flare high into the sky telling gamers around the world to wait for a better version later this year. So, who wins? Definitely Capcom, as they could sell millions of Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition on the Genesis and millions more of Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the Super Nintendo. Even Nintendo wins, as they have the #1 Street Fighter 2 game that will help sell systems during the holidays. As for Sega, they at least have a new licensee. Wow, the first time Capcom. That's interesting. Let's stop the Mega Man here for a second. That is really interesting. I didn't know that. So the first game Capcom ever released on Genesis was Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. And how friggin' cool is that, by the way? That Street Fighter can come out with new versions of itself, and whatever version it lands on, that system just increases in sales. I mean, that's a powerful IP. That's an incredibly powerful game. We got Den with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, my friend. Congrats to GTA Greg, to Lust, Triple D's Dungeon, our buddy Dave, Jim Smith, John DeBecky. Congrats and thank you, Den, for getting us started there. Growing our community with the memberships. Remember, if you are a channel member, you get access to our Discord, which is also exclusive and private. And you also get to join us on community days, which we've been rocking Fortnite for the past 750 years. Will be here. He just had a few personal things to take care of. He will be here shortly. Morning, Butters. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. And congrats again on that membership. Hopefully you'll be joining us Saturday for a few, because I need the W's, buddy. I need the W's, that's for sure. All right, cracking in. Look at this image. I don't think I've ever seen this before. This is for Yoshi's Cookie, but look how friggin' cool that is. Chef Mario. Maybe a new tattoo. I wouldn't mind. Teddy, what's going on? The oldest pistol is about 750 years old. I appreciate the info, my friend. Welcome to the stream. Willie's internet was so bad yesterday it caused outages. Oh, you're joking? Okay, sorry. I didn't know he had internet problems. He didn't say anything about that today, so he's just got something to do with, I think, his car or something. He's got to take care of an appointment. Cracking open. Here we go. Any of you guys want any of these coupons? Feel free to digitally print them out and use them at Software, etc. But remember, they expire June 20th, 1993. All right, letters to the editor. One of our favorite sections, always a fun read. And crazy again to think that it takes months for people to write this, send it in, and maybe get a response in one of their future issues of EGM. What's exclusive? This is from Scott Keelan of Allentown, Pennsylvania. So Scott says, I was at our local newsstand paging through a competitor's magazine. I wonder if Scott's like just afraid to say Game Pro or Game Players. Do you know what I mean? Or if EGM actually changed it. It doesn't seem like EGM to be one to kind of change those things, but anyway, I saw that they were running pictures of Street Fighter II Champion Edition, which really interested me. But since they called it an exclusive to their magazine, I bought it thinking that nobody else would have anything on the game. A few days later, I saw your magazine, which had 8 pages, 2 reviews, and tons of pictures for the Genesis. My question is, how can somebody go and say that they have an exclusive, even though other magazines are running the same info? Damn it, Scott! I don't know, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. That's a little rough. It sounds like they lied to you. Was it Game Players? Was it Game Pro? Was it Video Games and Computer Entertainment? Which magazine lied to you, Scott? Well, I vow, my friend, that one day we'll get to the bottom of this. Ed's response. I guess a person just can't believe everything that is printed. Hopefully you didn't get sucked into the other so-called exclusive on AVP that was running in yet another mag. It all sounds so complicated. Hey, who can you trust? Perhaps it is in the definition of exclusive. I would think that an exclusive picture is something that no one else has. But then again, most magazines take their own pictures, so everything in the magazine is exclusive. Go figure, Scott. Our exclusive coverage was just that. A special meeting with Capcom and a hands-on review and photo session. It all boils down to desperate people do desperate things to sell magazines. Remember this. If it's hot, you can be guaranteed that it will be in the pages of EGM. Matt says, pretty sure EGM would have edited out their competitors' names. Printing them could be considered slander, or at least crossing the line. Dan with, where the exclusive information... No, I'm not saying that. Butters, doing great? Yeah, you should be on tomorrow. Good stuff, buddy. International coverage, we're going to skip. Remember that once upon a time, I think I've done this twice now, where I tried to read the whole magazine myself, which I'm sure people who are, good at reading would have no issues with, but it kind of hurt my brain. It hurt my brain a bit, so yeah. And Cutthroat, with his smart mouth in the Discord, seems to think that, oh, actually, no, it was on the stream. He seems to think that we're not going to open the case. So the suitcase of patience we're talking about Fortnite is the challenge that I've put to our community for tomorrow. So Matt and I yesterday we scouted out the location. We found the suitcase of patience, which takes 10 real-time minutes to open. So Cutthroat, you're off the team, buddy. You're off the team. Because how can I trust you to watch our back when you don't even believe in the Legends Club? You're off the team. We'll see you on the battlefield, buddy. The golden era of gaming in these pages. I love these EGM reads. Thanks, dude. Yeah, this is our first kind of preview, I guess, of Mortal Kombat coming home, which is exciting. Say, gamer, I'll take your place. There you go. Big mouth equals big consequences around these parts over here. You know what I'm saying? The Sega CD2. This is by Martin Hines from Lakewood, California. I was reading your sister publication, Megaplay, where you mentioned the Sega CD2. What is this system about and how much will it cost? Is it cheaper than the current Sega CD? For an in-depth look at the new system for Sega, check out EGM Express on page 56. Well, if EGM Express is not located in the pages of this magazine, we are out of luck. You know what I'm saying? Teleplay lives. That's the modem. We're going to skip that. Oh, Neo Geo a no-go. All right, Cutthroat. I know you love your Neo. I know a bunch of you legends like the Neo Geo as well. Let's check this one out. This is from, who's this from? Terrell L. Gaza of Syracuse, New York. I recently broke my bank and bought Fatal Fury 2 for my Neo Geo. It sounded awesome, but I quickly discovered that the cart seemed to be defective. The sound would stop or stutter severely throughout playing. I called my favorite mail order house and explained the situation. They didn't seem the least bit surprised and said the flaw isn't in the cart, but in the hardware. Ooh. They sent me another cart at my expense, just in case it was the cartridge. Same problem. I called up SNK. They said it would cost $60 to $100 and take up to 2 weeks to fix my system to work for Fatal Fury 2. Well, you know what? Let me just say this. Unfortunately, sorry, I'm one man with all these buttons here. Let me get this back up here. Unfortunately, I got to say that sometimes hardware fails. You know what I mean? Sometimes that happens. You can't blame SNK, nor can you throw the Neo Geo under the bus for having a defective system. You know what I'm saying? Mo, happy Friday. I'm awake and have coffee and ready to go. Well, we played the old school morning coffee intro just for you, buddy. Bowler says, I'm trying to remember what I was playing in the summer of 93. Mario All-Stars, was that out yet? I think you might be right. What's going on, DJ VR? Can't wait for GTA 6. Let the countdown begin. We're playing through GTA every Monday and sometimes more than once a week. We are just at the last portion of Vice City now. Okay, so Ed says this was a real interesting comment. So we contacted Chad Okada at SNK, and we discovered that the problem you and some other gamers are facing is the fact that it's a defect with the hardware chips. As Chad explains, about a year ago, SNK of Japan drastically cut the price of the Neo Geo to stimulate sales. But when the price dropped, cheaper chips were installed that allowed the Japanese Neo Geo to play American games. Interesting. So if you purchased your Neo Geo through mail order around a year ago, you may have one of these systems. This system is authorized by SNK USA. So if you experience problems playing Super Sidekicks or Fatal Fury 2, you can return the Neo Geo to SNK. They will repair it for $10. Plus shipping and handling if you bought the Neo Geo from an American store. I feel like you should not charge $10 and just repair it. That's my thoughts, especially with the price tag of the Neo Geo. And you would have had to be an elite gamer. You guys know the cost of the Neo Geo, let alone the games for this thing. Do you know what I mean? So I think SNK should have ate the cost, but there you go. More comic titles. You want to read that one? This is from Ken Davidson from Jacksonville, Florida. HGC, good morning. Good to see you, buddy. Did I miss anybody else popping in? Guys, thanks for being here on Friday the 13th. We have a special 5-goal super chat. If we hit that in this stream, we're going to do a bonus Friday the 13th stream for the Switch. Yes, the game lives and can be played on the Switch offline. Comic book titles, let's do it. Okay. Okay, I'm a big-time comic book fan, and I'm glad to see that many companies are starting to make video games based on these characters. Sega made a cool version of X-Men, but what about the other favorite, RoboCop versus Terminator? What? The other favorite, RoboCop versus... Let me tell you something. No one cares about that. I'm sorry. This could be a great game because the story was so cool and the action was blistering. How about it, EGM? Any word on this game or any others? Buddies. Listen, you don't have to mesh these two. You guys know I don't like that. Alien versus Predator, RoboCop versus Terminator. They don't need to do that. Just keep them in their own separate IPs. Keep them in their own universes. You know what I'm saying? So Ed says, you're in luck, Ken. Virgin Interactive has announced that they will release RoboCop versus Terminator on the Super Nintendo. It's a side-scrolling action game starring RoboCop and the Terminator and will feature some really cool special effects. There you go. There you go, Cutthroat. You can get RoboCop versus Terminator at your local store right this minute. I wanted a Neo Geo 2, gamer says. Too expensive for me at the time. Me as well, my friend. I got mine secondhand when I got it. And even when I got it secondhand, it was a pretty penny. Neo Geo CD put on hold. How many in the chat have actually even seen a Neo Geo CD system? Has anybody? And if you have you played the Neo Geo CD? Now, this is kind of one that's on the list. It's been on my list for decades now. I've only ever seen it once at EB Games in the 90s, way up high. And then I saw at the Toronto Game Expo this past November, Josh, Will, and I saw a Japanese one that I didn't get because the price tag on it was up there. And if I'm going to spend the price that they're asking, I think it was $300 or $400, I'm going to get the North American one. But I've never seen a North American one since. Anybody play the Neo Geo CD? Most is not in person. Gamer, nope. Batstan, I didn't know you worked at EB. Oh my God, that's amazing. So you worked there in the 90s. Very cool, buddy. Yeah, so it's, everyone knows that the Neo Geo is one of their SNK's big genres. They're known for is, of course, the fighting games. And the Neo Geo CD, unfortunately, had really, really, really slow loading times. Like, really slow. So, you can imagine when you're playing King of Fighters, Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting, whatever you're playing, when you're picking your characters, you don't want to sit there on like a 10 to 15 second load screen. Do you know what I mean? So there you go. In the 90s, nice. HGC says, one weekend event fell on the Friday the 13th. A Revenant in a white mask may have stalked the players at the beginning of the game that Friday. I think I missed the rest of that, buddy. My bad. Street Fighter 2 for CD-ROM. We're going to skip that one. As much as we love Street Fighter 2, I feel like we've been hammered by it the past little while. How's the coffee going, by the way? Buddy, I'm a one-man show today. Dump ankles. Thank you. Well, you're not wrong. Okay. We have Star Fox. That's the game of the month. And they really just kind of shoot their you know what right off the bat, give you the game of the month. So let's see what Steve and Ed have been up to. Steve, the big boss man, got stuck in a New York blizzard and was forced to play Game Boy Tetris for 4 days. Whew! Deja vu. Current favorite games: Star Fox, Street Fighter II Champion Edition. And Ed. Ed's back from Japan with a lot of new carts and the new Mega Drive 2 and the Mega CD 2. Current favorite games: After Armageddon, Fatal Fury 2, and the Super Nintendo. Sick. Dump ankles! Sure, if you want to copy and paste, that would be great. Did they used to have, Mo's asking, did they used to have Neo Geo arcade machines? Yep, they did. Most of them were, well, later on in the lifespan, like 4-in-1s. So you'd see those red Neo Geo cabs that would have 4 games that were interchangeable. Yeah. Coffee and French vanilla. Nice. Nice. That sounds delicious. Gamer, I'm guessing that's from Timmy's. I used to have French vanilla and English toffee. I don't know if they still have English toffee there, but I was addicted to those. What's up, Christoph? Good morning. So Star Fox gets a 9 from Steve, an 8 from Ed. Martin gives it a 9. Sushiax also gives it a 9, giving it the Editor's Choice Gold Award. Congrats to Star Fox. How many Star Fox fans do we have in the chat? I feel like if you're of our age, of our generation, and you had a Super Nintendo, you played Star Fox. If you didn't own Star Fox, you definitely rented it 100%. Ed's the hard butt. Yep, he is. So Willie usually reads Ed, so I will do both here just to see the different opinions of Steve versus Ed. So Steve gives it a 9 and says, like most games from Nintendo, Star Fox boasts more than just great imagery and brilliant sounds. It also has incredible depth and play that extends from the first mission to the final battles. The Super FX chip is used quite effectively here in the diverse array of action. Oh boy, here we go. With a diverse array of action serving as an appetizer for the games yet to come. Nice. And Ed gives it just one fraction lower. He gives it an 8 out of 10. And Ed says the following: Star Fox is a very impressive game with some great effects. The graphics, although plain, do some really cool tricks. The missions were challenging and the bosses were pretty wild. The best part is that Star Fox has some of the best voices I've heard on the Super Nintendo. As I said, the only drawback was the plain graphics. Yeah, but we're getting into polygons here. We're getting to that next level. This is the beginning. This is the beginning on console of the next level. Not of polygons in general. We had tons of that on PC. But as far as gaming consoles go, this was the beginning. See, Gamer loves Star Fox. JT had Star Fox 64, which was... I preferred the 64 one, and we played that for hours and hours and hours, for days, for weeks, for years. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, super high impact football. For those of you who have seen the history of Mortal Kombat that I dropped last Friday, a week ago, Mr. Ed Boon, one of the first games that he created at Midway when he joined their team in the late 80s was super high impact football, which was a football game kind of like Blitz, but used digitized graphics, which Midway was famous for at the time. This is super high impact football coming home to the Super Nintendo, so that's pretty cool. It looks like the review crew didn't like it too well, as Steve gives it a 5. Although super high impact has the gloss down cold, the execution of play as well as the overall challenge do manage to detract from a visually appealing experience. Unfortunately, with thin gameplay and a real need for playbook diversity, super high impact stumbles on its way to the end zone. And Ed gives it a 6. Well, not very entertained by the arcade version. Super high impact on the Super NES is not a bad game. Well, it's true that it's very simple play. It's better than reading the manual for 5 hours before you choose a play. I would have liked a bit more action, but overall, it's an above average sports game. You guys want to know what the best sports game is? Now, many people were playing Madden back in the day. They swore by Madden. Wrong. That would be incorrect. Joe Montana, the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. Joe Montana football for the Sega Genesis is the best football game of all time. I said it. It's 100% true. Sorry, Madden fans. But Joe knows. Joe knows sports. Joe knows football. Wait, that's Bo Jackson. Whatever. Joe Montana. Mike Tyson's Punch Out. What are you talking about? Football. Gamers just throwing out games he loves. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson did some alleged things that we're not going to get into, but he got kicked off the old Punch Out, and then they just released Punch Out. Remember, they took him out and put in Super Dream Dude or whatever. Super Dream, Mr. Dream, Super Dream, whatever. Ed gives it a 6. While not very entertained by the arcade version, super high impact football on the Super NES is not a bad game. Well, it's true that it may be very so. Did I already read this? I already read this. That's why you usually have 2 people on the show. I already read this. All right, moving on. Tasmania. Mr. Dream, okay. Mr. Dream, whatever. Tasmania by Sunsoft. We also got a Tasmania on the Genesis, I think before this one, that Sega actually made. And I always was a fan of an IP. This was, I think, a back in the day thing, because I don't know if this really exists anymore, but how a company would take an IP and make a version of the game, and then another company was also allowed to license it out. Do you know what I mean? Ghostbusters is a great example. A billion different companies made Ghostbuster games. Well, 2, Sega and Activision. But you get what I'm saying. Mike Tyson just punches everyone in the football field and wins. What are you talking about, Mike Tyson? Was he a football player? I don't know. Anyway, this Sunsoft version, you guys remember Sunsoft? They made such classics as Journey to Silius and then they made Batman, the original Batman game on NES, Blaster Master. Okay, so 7. I got to tell you guys, I'm not a fan of Bugs Bunny, so I didn't play any of these. But if you like Bugs Bunny, more power to you. I really liked the game when I first started playing, but its repetitive nature bogged down what is an otherwise cart filled with great execution, superior graphics, and a unique approach. Sure, racing games use the same approach from beginning to end, but the constant perspective used in Taz just seemed to wear thin. And I know 5 technically would be an average score in something like this, but I always think of 7. I don't know why. I think of 7 as like teetering on mediocrity. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because in the pages of this magazine, 7 is always just okay, when maybe they should have given a 5 the just okay rating. What am I even saying? Big Chungus. I only acknowledge the Big Chungus version of what the hell are you? What is everyone happening? What is going on? What's a Big Chungus? Bugs Bunny Chungus. Oh my God. Help me. Someone help me. 7 also from Ed. Tasmania is a cute game with a radically different approach. The first person scrolling is neat, but gets drawn out after a while. There isn't much innovation here except for hilarious animations that happen to poor Taz. The real distraction is the fact that the enemies that get you cause the game to end right there. Whoopity-doo! You need to keep up with the memes? God. Well, if you were in the Discord, HGC, educating me, then perhaps I would. I don't even know what that is, Matt. I want to learn, though, because it's a hilarious name. I don't even know what it means. Who played Mario is Missing? Remember they tried to make Luigi a big hero, a big jukebox hero? Well, this was Luigi's first solo adventure, and it's called Mario is Nothings. Rusty, good morning, Wave. Back. How are you? Mario's Missing by Mindscape for the Super Nintendo. Steve gives it a 6. I truly enjoyed the purpose behind this game, and I think the design team should be commended for creating a game that's sure to get plenty of younger players involved with the idea of problem solving. Sounds dull. Still, this title did very little for me personally, and as much as this is not a bad game, I didn't get much enjoyment from it. There you go. We got our first super chat from the average gamer. Thank you, my friend, very much.
Outstanding.
Big Chungus versus Kombat. Who would win? Oh, easy, Shokan. Easy. Who would win? I don't know what the first one is, but I'm gonna find out. That brings us 4 away from our goal of a Friday the 13th stream after this bad boy. So let's keep rocking. Ed gives it an 8. Contrary to what everyone else says, let's see what market this game is aimed for. The younger audience will like the Mario characters and the theme music, while the parents enjoy the geography their kids will learn. Ugh. Learning. If you want an all-out action in a Mario game, look elsewhere. Otherwise, Mario Missing is a great idea. I would rather play with Dump Ankle's dull sword, than play Mario is Missing. I'm just saying. I don't know one person who's ever said, "Man, Mario's Missing. That's a real gem on the Super Nintendo." Wrong. You would be incorrect there. Incorrect. Willie, where are you? Willie's favorite games. So this also by Sunsoft. This one's for the Genesis, though. How many Blaster Master fans are out there? Is anyone listening? I'm taking a sip. While we listen to Randy's mom. That's good, Squishy. Oh, what a few years will do. I was always a big fan of the original Blaster Master, and the enhanced version takes the original concept over the top with better graphics, better sound, and better gameplay. Blaster Master never really seemed to get the attention it deserved years ago. Now there's a new chance to right the wrong. Great. Yeah, that's just wonderful. I know you guys are listening. I know. Ed and Steve agree, which is kind of crazy. As a big fan of the 8-bit version, I must say that I'm not disappointed with Blaster Master 2. I really wish some of the enhancements like the wall climb were left in, but there is still plenty to shoot at. The control is pretty decent, but the lack of real power-ups is kind of sad. Otherwise, a worthy sequel. You know, I really wish I could play Rebecca Black. Like, that would be really the ultimate. If we could just make that like the theme of the stream for Fridays. If we could only play Rebecca Black. Rebecca, if you're listening, can I license your song, please? I want to play it just for like the theme. We'll do like the Fresh Pots with like Rebecca Black over it. You know what I'm saying? RBI Baseball 93. Oh, wow. That's exciting. By Tenjin. I know some of you call Tengen. However you say it. Tenjin is a division of Atari. And they have games that are not supposed to be on the Nintendo. Oh, you posted. Should I look at the big? Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to look at Big Chungus. Where? I don't see it. Oh, in gaming? What is that? Is that like Bugs Bunny, but not really at all? Interesting. Interesting. So Steve gives it a 9. Over the years, Tengen has done a good job of refining the game to its present level of quality. In terms of offering a complete package that blends a solid play mechanism with quite a few special features, RBI 93 scores a home run in my book. In a crowded field of baseball titles, this one does it all for me. Is it Bugs Bunny? Gamer, is that what that is? Fresh Poots rules. God, Cutthroat. God. Cutthroat, have you seen? Do you know the whole thing with that? We'll talk after. RBI 93 gets an 8 from Ed. These guys, like Steve and Ed, are like in sync here. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna freak out though because they're like best friends this issue. RBI 93 is a great mix of pure action and simulation, nicely blended together. I enjoyed the realistic sound effects, and the control was nearly flawless. Creating your own teams was a nice touch. Don't get scared by all the detail because it's one of the better baseball games out there. Great job, Tengen. Nice job, Tengen. Very proud of you. Cyborg Justice. Genesis has some real gems this month. This one is created by Sega. Anyone play Cyborg Justice? It's not bad. I didn't mind it. Billy D is here. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the stream. And we are rocking on some Cyborg Justice, which Steve gives a 6. Ugh. The concept behind the game is strong, but the execution really falls flat. Oh no. There isn't enough true technique in the side-scrolling scenes, something that is made up for in the head-to-head mode. The real factor that now makes or breaks fighting games in the post-Street Fighter II world to support the visual effects and interesting concept. You know what's funny? Again, we're talking about how they give scores. And I mean, like, they're talking like 6 is a failure. Have we ever really seen like 2, 3, or 4 in their scores? Because I don't think that we have. Cutthroat says Cyborg Justice is okay, Jay Bartlett, but it was okay. Sorry, Genesis. Oh, for the Genesis. Yeah, I heard it was pretty good. I heard it was pretty all right. But Ed gives it a 7, so 1 point extra. Let's go, Ed. Cyborg Justice is a nice change of pace from the mindless walk and punch everything that moves game. Well, we call those beat 'em ups, Ed. Actually, thank you. It takes real skill to master all the cyborg configurations. The one-player mode can get boring, but it's nice to rip body parts off the robots at times. Grab a friend for 2-player gameplay. It's more fun. How much you want to make a bet because of the success of Street Fighter 2? They just added in like a 2-player competitive mode. How much you want to bet? How much do you want to bet? You gonna learn. Heck yes. I love to learn. And speak of the devil, here's RBI Baseball 2 right now. Or sorry, RBI 93. The Revengeancing. Available now. Go get it, guys. There's a lot of Genesis stuff. Oh, we got a couple Sega CD games. Excellent. What the heck is the Humans? Can anybody tell me what the Humans is? Anybody play this? This is by Game Tech. Game Tech. I couldn't tell you one single game from Game Tech except from the Humans. We played RBI 93. It was okay. It says Cutthroat Nothings. All right, so Steve gives it a 7. While its heritage is definitely rooted in the Lemmings and other follow-the-leader type puzzle games, Humans puts some interesting spins on the original and buffs up the concept to include an evolutionary play technique. Although every levels are almost devoid of challenge, subsequent routes must be made up for it. Blah, blah, blah. Ladies and gentlemen, I think there's a knock on the door. Hang on. Should we answer it? Who's there? Let's answer the door. Hang on. Okay, just hold on a sec. Hey, did that look like I went to the door and let Josh in? Did it look like that?
Mortal Friday.
Mortal Friday, Monday. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I missed the beginning of the episode, and obviously I missed your message at 9:59. But if I had had more notice, I could have maybe been here from the start.
Oh, you mean you didn't just knock on the door random? No, it's totally fine. Will's going to be joining us. I just thought because you're such a big fan of Mortal Kombat, this is the preview where it comes home. So I thought
Right.
you'd like to join in.
Yeah, I like Mortal Kombat.
Everyone, welcome JP, also known as Josh Pepper, also known as one half of Cut Pepper Productions.
Something like that.
Do you need the link for the issue?
That would help.
Okay. Okay. Let's get you the link to the issue.
Like I can see, I could put it full screen here.
You can see it enough, or do you want me to get it for you?
At this moment, I can see it enough.
Okay. Then we'll just continue with that. How you doing, buddy? You recovered from our big hunt?
Oh yeah, yep. That was good. That was fun. Lots of still hurting in the wallet and bank account, but well worth it.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. I showed off Friday the 13th, but that's because I might do a stream of that after, given the day that it is. So
Today is Friday the 13th.
yeah, I was trying to rush out, but I can't rush out all the goodness of this video. So we're gonna take our time. Would you like to read Ed's parts? Can you read that okay?
I was just gonna bring up your chat so that I can watch the stream as well.
Sure. So let me continue with Ed, and you get yourself all readied up. So we're going to continue with the humans, which really cool that you popped in here too, because this is a Lemmings type game for the Genesis that I had no idea even what it was.
Interesting.
So Ed gives it a 7. The Humans is another good addition to the growing class of puzzle games. The only serious drawback is the slow pace at which the levels are completed. It's neat the way your humans, must learn new techniques to survive the later levels. Some of these get really tough. A fine game that needs a minor speed increase. There you go.
All right, I have chat up. Full screen this. All right.
Good stuff.
Good to go.
All right, we're on Batman Returns for the Sega CD.
Nice.
So you're going to read the second one. So I'll go first with Steve's. So
Man,
Steve,
I was looking at this game and I wanted to buy it, but it was out of my price range. Maybe it's forever. I don't know.
The Sega CD ones, dude, are extremely expensive. Same with actually any of that, pretty much everything now. Now that I think about it, yeah. The Saturn stuff in particular is crazy.
If I recall, it was like a $400 to $500 something price tag.
Yeah. Batman Returns by Sega for the Sega CD. Steve gives it the old 5. When I originally played the CD portions of this game, I was truly impressed with its quality. When the first-person screens are integrated with the cartridge side-scrolling levels, however, the quality of these additions seems to taper off. Could have been better, though, with some emphasis on the new levels.
All right.
There you go. What's up, Mutron?
Batman Returns for Sega CD. Let's see the the driving scenes, right? Are nice. Yep. Lots of cool scaling is there. The music, yes, the music is fantastic. The side-scrolling scenes, a simple port over from the Genesis. Oh well, it's still a fun game to play and should boost some staggering Sega CD sales. Give it a try.
Yeah, and what I was saying earlier about this particular point in gaming history that's cool is that you would see an IP like Batman or Ghostbusters or whatever, and multiple companies would make games for it. I don't think we really see that today, do we?
No. I enjoy playing a different version of the same, for a different console kind of thing. In my opinion, I like it.
Yeah, like it's like Ghostbusters is Activision and Sega did one, and like Star Wars. Well, maybe that's a bad example, but like Tasmania was another one. That's just really cool.
Even like as an example, so Aladdin for
Yes,
Disney's Aladdin, there's only a couple small differences between the Genesis and the SNES version, but um, I think people should experience both. They're very similar though.
absolutely. Okay, all right, Mo. We'll see you later, buddy. Have a good Friday. Final fight for the Sega CD. Oh, this guy. If you guys know this game, this was an original Sega CD launch title that came in a cardboard box way back before they had the plastic boxes. Sega CD games would come in the cardboard, um, which that makes them pretty rare, pretty hard to find now, in good shape at least. So Steve gives it a 6. What? Here's another game that uses its CD enhancement to do little for the gameplay and everything for the music and sound support. While the play itself is solid, the necessity of the CD is questionable at best. That point aside, you get a decent beat 'em up that has some nice touches, but isn't overwhelming. Come on, man. Come on. Disagree.
Okay. Final Fight is a good action game that didn't really need to be on a CD. Yes, the addition of the CD music was nice, but this game could have been a serious contender on cartridge format. It's nice to see the return of Guy and all of the arcade levels. Did I read that correctly?
Yep, that's the character's name is Guy.
But there's really nothing else that's spectacular about it.
Yeah, when this game was released on Super Nintendo, due to what I'm assuming is memory limitations, the 3 playable characters were reduced to 2, and they took a character named Guy out. And everyone complained so much that they then released another version of the game called Final Fight Guy, and I believe they took Cody out and put Guy back in. So this one you can pick all 3 characters.
Darn they them.
Mr. Gignac, good to see you, dude. Listening while driving. Good to see you in the chat, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Did you go?
Yeah, I just read.
You just went. Okay. We're skipping the Q-Man letter. Yeah, I can't wait to get to the cover story with Josh here. Josh is a big Mortal Kombat fan. So it'll be really, really fun to have that discussion. Bonk 3. Oh, boy. Here you go, Cut Nothings. Bonk 3. You want to talk about an expensive game, buddy. This we saw at Brody's Gaming and Collectibles for just the card was $1,200. Woo! This is if you're trying to do a complete TurboGrafx set, good luck. Good luck.
What's going on, Basta?
Bonk 3 by Hudson Soft and Turbo Technologies Incorporated for the Turbo Duo. Turbo Technologies Incorporated main man continues to appear in some solid sequels that combine better than average side-scrolling action with good graphics and sound support. The latest installment is no exception, with Bonk thrust into another world filled with dangers and challenges around every corner. A great follow-up. 8.
All right. Bonk is a great character, and this 3rd episode really shines, although it really offers nothing completely new, except for his extreme shape changes. The game is still fun to play. Man, I cannot read in between
Okay.
the letter. The 2-player co-op mode, did I miss? No, yeah, is by far the best feature. That same kooky music and the cartoony backgrounds keep this game going. An 8.
I can hear JT saying the Canadian school system. I can hear him mutter it under his breath.
To be fair, though, I'm just viewing this through your thing or whatever, right? And those colors of the numbers really block out the black lettering text. So I'm just
For
guessing.
Sure. We'll go with that. That sounds good. We'll go with that. Dungeon Master. Once again, Turbo Technologies Incorporated. I say this every time, but I gotta say it again because I got some feels for the TurboGrafx, and it hurts me that Hudson Soft basically had to develop almost every single game for this thing. That hurts me because the system had such potential. There you go. Dungeon Master. I've never played this. 7 from Steve. Well, the execution is a bit jerky. Whoa. This game is a strong RPG that is aged but remains worthwhile. Fighting through the enemies and getting around the obstacles and riddles that fill the mazes that compromise the game make DM, being Dungeon Master, one of the few RPGs that this boy will call classic. The music is also outstanding.
Oops. Yeah. Okay, Dungeon Master. Although this game is extremely old, it's still a solid RPG. The control is average, and the music is very good. The enemies are kind of goofy looking, and the scrolling is unique. It's tough to complete with other RPGs on the Duo,
Yep, Duo. But Dungeon Master.
but Dungeon Master still gets a strong, good nod. If you're into this type of game, don't miss out on it.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the stream. I see what you mean now. Pretty rough when it goes into the red. You know what? You can just have fun with it and make up whatever word you want.
Yeah, at one point I thought it said cut and good, but it's a nod and but.
Big Chungus in that dungeon, HGC says with an exclamation point. Kirby's Adventure for the NES. We're still getting NES games, JP, in 1993. Excuse me.
Well, they keep going past that.
Steve gives it an 8. Okay. Are you a Kirby fan?
No, I've never really delved into the Curb.
Yeah, Kirby's kind of lame. I'm sorry, Nintendo. I love you, but never been a Kirby guy. However, it still gets an 8. I absolutely drill on the technique found in Kirby. What the hell does that mean, chat? I absolutely drill on the technique found in Kirby. Sure. The combination of strategies needed while using the abilities of your enemies puts a new spin on play. The action is top notch from start to finish, and the characters and gameplay are all cut from Nintendo's strongest molds. A great 8-bit title that shouldn't be missed. 8.
All right, Kirby's Adventure. Can Nintendo pick winners or what? Kirby's Adventure is an absolute blast to play. Kirby's ability to acquire techniques from eaten enemies is fantastic. Perfect play, control, and many levels are the icing on the cake. The
Colors,
though, very pastel, seems a little
drab.
Okay,
This
but
is
don't
fun.
let that turn you away from a really fun game. It's just the words in the number. But yeah, Kirby was mostly like handheld, right? And I didn't have a lot of handheld experience. If you know what I'm saying. But,
I really couldn't tell you the Kirby games. Like I've used him in Smash Brothers. I think I might have played one or two, but to me it was just. I mean, if I'm gonna play a game like this, I'll play Mario or I'll play, Bonk or something like that. But
I can't think of which Mario game, but they kind of just the Mario game is kind of just it's a newer one. Is it Odyssey where Mario just kind of sucks people's powers up? It's kind of basically a Kirby game.
Yeah. His hat, whatever he throws his hat on, he becomes that item. Kind of deal, yeah. Oh, it's Matt says it sounds like slang lost to the ages of time, and good riddance. Agreed. Good riddance. And then Billy says Matt's not drilling on that. Oh my god.
A tin can cutthroat. That's I don't know about that, but
listen to Cut Nothing. Cut Nothing in the chat. When he gets on the mic, he turtles up. Turtles up. Battletoads and Double Dragon for NES. Nintendo, for whatever reason, still keeping the NES alive in '93
I
because this
remember
game was also, it was also on Super.
I rented this probably a handful of times.
Yeah, I played it. Like I've stated before, I was never really into Battletoads. It was, I don't know, it was okay, I guess, but it gets a 6 though from Steve. Although I like the pairing of video game characters in their own game. This title, while displaying some good side-scrolling techniques, did have its share of problems. The graphics aren't exactly up to par, even for 8-bit, and the controls seem to be slightly haphazard. The combo play is nice, but not superior. There you go.
All right, a number 8 was the score for this review. The NES is really getting some hot. I almost read that incorrectly. Titles. This is a great cooperative game filled with great moves and awesome combos. It's great to find out that there is always something to fight on the screen. Teaming up with another player to clobber the enemy is a riot. Why aren't NES games this good a few years back? 8.
Oh, it's good. What's going on? Curb Stomp, good morning. Happy Friday the 13th to you. Oh boy. Raging Fighter by Konami for the Game Boy. No idea. But we're going to find it.
With this.
Raging Fighter. Street Fighter 2 on the Game Boy has been a running joke ever since that game was set to debut on the home system. As strange as a fighting game may sound on a handheld, this one comes off pretty good, with some slick graphics and well-executed interaction, but it's not in the same league as Street Fighter 2. But it's good. Nice name, too.
Okay, Konami 8. Yeah, I've never heard of this one. Konami has turned up the portable heat with this one. I loved the attacks right from Street Fighter 2, but they can be tough to execute enemies. One player matches can get get something boring quickly. So be sure to link up with a friend. The graphics are very sharp for the Game Boy, and the music is not too shabby either.
Sorry, I was reading chat. I left you hanging there.
It's all good. It's just that middle part of the numbers.
Right. The Land of Illusion. Josh, do you like Mickey Mouse?
I've never been. I kind of like the 30s or the 20s, the black and white silent ones.
When he doesn't talk, yep.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Steamboat Nothings. This is for the Game Gear. So I think this is maybe a Castle of Illusion sequel or prequel. Matt, thanks for the heads up on Willie. Looks like Willie's having internet issues, guys. So there you go.
I'm having reading issues, so
there you go. 8. The fluidity of the game is really pretty incredible for the Game Gear. Both the gameplay and the animations are rendered in a smooth, high-quality form that complements the simple yet multifaceted technique. The game is a nice addition to the Game Gear library and one of the better action titles available for the system. Did I just say library? I meant library. God.
I'm not familiar with this one, but it seems kind of cool. I didn't play much Game Gear, but yeah, Land of Illusion. You want it, you got it. Mickey on the portable is terrific. The colors are so good, it's hard to believe you're on a portable system. Controls very precise with neat attacks. The levels are the perfect length and the difficulty is just right. With more games, the Mickey and Sonic Sega is going to do well this Christmas. 9. It's a high score.
Congrats to Friday the 13th, part 1 in winning the poll 70%. Incorrect. Part 2. But that's fine. Oh boy, like look at a game like this. Hey, like look at this. Here we go. We're getting into the mascot wars of the 90s. Who in their right mind would want to play this? Look at it. Awful.
It's like Rambo, but Caveman edition on steroids
Yeah.
with the Iron Cross plane.
It's bizarre. Part 2 is okay. Was it cutthroat? All right. If you say so. I think it was good just because Jason was he was small, right? Like he was like an actual size. Like Kane Hodder's huge, but this Jason was really small and he had like the pillowcase over his head. I don't know, it was just cool. But I gotta like the hipster one, right? Oh boy. Okay, can you even see that?
I can see it. Can I read it is another question, but we will give it a shot.
Well, listen, this is Quarterman, so as everybody knows, Quarterman writes things like in a really bizarre way. So we're going to do our best. We're not going to read this whole thing here, as I do want to get to talking about Mortal Kombat and all that stuff here. So I'll pick a line here. Let's just see some of the things that are coming up in this article from Quarterman. Time Warner creates the Sega Channel. Oh, remember the Sega Channel? Camerica goes under. Jaguar gets new chips. The Neo Geo CD is dropped. Star Fox gets a name change. Sonic gets a sister. New Donkey Kong delayed. Super soft news. Okay. I'm going to start on the third paragraph here. Jeepers, could it really be true? The Quarterman hears that Atari has done some redesigns on their Jaguar chipset, now relying on Motorola to make a one-piece 64-bit chipset instead of the previously planned dual 32-bit boosters. The Atari Mystery Machine is going to miss the Consumer Electronics Show party in Chicago this June, but will be unveiled at some special press ceremony shortly thereafter. The gaming gurus at Camp Trammell say that SCSI port programmable resolution and special sound chip will weigh in at just under $200. Here's one that will get some play on the Rush Limbaugh show. What?
He's passed away now, just like 5-10 years ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Kaneko is signed on to produce a game based on Socks the Cat. Who the hell is Socks the Cat? Anyone?
I don't know.
I feel your pain. Star Fox is set to explode on the European scene as Starwing? Why? Other name change candidates include Mutant League Football by EA, which will hit stores across the Atlantic as Beast Ball. Whoopee! Hey, Postmaster, I just got off the phone with Sushi X. Yes, the real Sushi X. And he told me to tell you that he never He never have respect for a lame fan mag put out by people who try to sell illegal copies of video games. Personally, the Q-Man doesn't see how anyone could respect a mag that sells the games it reviews. Oh my God.
Do you want me to on the next paragraph?
You can pick whatever you want, buddy. I'm friggin' winded.
I'll just carry on from there. So, EGM subscribers, those exclusive elite lucky enough to get the one and only newsletter produced by yours truly, got a bundle of inside info last month on new softs set to hit the market soon. Since then, the Quarter Fiend has gone undercover to dig up the development of other titles soon to see reality. The Donkey Kong follow-up, the Q-Man told you about so many moons ago, has been placed on the Philips CDI, Famicom CD platforms, and should be finished sometime next year. Here's a power play. Konami, strangely, short on game as of late, has captured the rights to release the LucasArts spec soft Monsters. They've renamed the beastly blaster Zombies Ate My Neighbors, huh? Huh? Also new from the Special K is a new Castlevania game for the Sega 16-bitter called Bloodlines, coming for Xmas. Absolute is working on a goofy game. How appropriate! Look for Steven Seagal to come to life, 16-bit style from Tech Magic later this year. Huh.
And the lovely Stacy has joined us with some info. Socks, the cat, was the Clintons' cat. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. I had no idea. I thought it was some cartoon I didn't know about. And interesting too, what Josh read here. That Donkey Kong was going to be on the Philips CDI, which was supposed to be the Super Nintendo CD-ROM. But I wonder if that became Donkey Kong Country. It must have, because
most likely
we got 3 Zeldas on the CDI and 1 Hotel Mario game, but we never got a Donkey Kong. So that's interesting. Interesting. All right, we're gonna glide past Quarterman here because he hurts. He hurts to read. There's that Cybernator game. Woo! Fire. Doesn't like going through this make you want to like? Maybe we should take another trip back to Big Time Gamers. Going through these, it's like I just write down, oh yeah, that one. Let's get that one. Let's get that one. Turbo Street Fighter 2 coming to Nintendo. Skip that. Oh yeah, I forgot you're on the stream. Oh no, you're on the thing too, so you're seeing it in real time. Okay. We're gonna skip the big heavy tech segments here. Nice to see once again a Turbo Duo ad, as it's going to be coming to the end of that life cycle as of 94, which will be extremely sad. Did you ever play Saturday Night Slam Masters by Capcom?
Every Saturday. No, I've never played this.
God. Wrestling game. This featured Mike Hagar from Final Fight. Who played this? Anyone in the chat? Anyone? There's some really wacky art in this issue. Wacky art. There's Tasmania. Where is our Mortal Kombat? The game doctor we always skip. We're going to skip him.
The Lost Vikings.
Who's this dude?
That's
Who's this
Brad
dude?
Pitt. Extremely sunburned.
Ladies and gentlemen, who do we have in the chat? Look who it is. We're going to highlight that here. We have the Dawn of Gaming himself in the chat. Good to see you, Dawn. Everyone, right now, make sure you check out Big Time Gamers. Make sure you give them a follow on socials. And I don't believe there's a YouTube channel, but if there is, give them a sub anyway. What the hell? Good to see you, Dawn. The video's in the works, buddy, so no spoilers, Dawn. No spoilers. I better be on the big TV right now. That's all I got to say.
Dawn has the biggest TV I think I've ever seen.
That made the cut, too. That was pretty funny. Yeah, the video's coming, guys. I'm working on it. We don't want to rush it. There's so much hilarious JP lines in it that I got to make sure I craft it just perfect. His back and forth with Will is pretty good, and his back and forth with Dawn is really good as well. So we're taking our time. Yeah, this is just basically we're just looking through this, Dawn, to get some ideas to come back. Oh, Gunstar Heroes, that's a good one. I'll write that one down. Dawn, do you have Gunstar Heroes? Do you ever play that, JP? That's a good one.
No, but I think he had a loose cart that I saw somebody buy, I believe. It was crazy. Every person that came into the store, Dawn knew their name. They were all regulars. They were there whether there was a sale going on or not. These people come in and they're just like shopping for games. And the customer and business relation seemed absolutely amazing. I must say that. I believe there was a guy that came in and bought that loose.
Oh, the Gunstar?
Yep.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure.
Nice. Dragon's Lair. The horrible home version. This, I think, was based off of the NES version, which was just, it's almost unplayable. You guys
I
want
bet
to see
you.
a hilarious
Yeah.
video? James Rolfe just put one out a couple
Yeah.
months back where he revisits this. Did you see it, dude? It's
Oh,
hilarious.
I watched it. Yeah. I
Bad.
I doubt anybody's beaten this game.
It's like impossible. Yeah. So go check that out. It's just hilarious. These are international games. We're looking for Mortal Monday. Ooh, Jaguar. That reminds me, dude. And again, we're not going to give anything away, JP, from the episode coming out, but we've seen a Jaguar quite a few times. Do you ever have any thoughts about getting any of some of the wackier systems like the Atari Jaguar?
No. Too obscure.
You're not hipster enough for the Jaguar? Come
I know it.
on.
Like Jay's got his rack there of his consoles and stuff, but I'm looking for stuff that I can actually play and collect for, and I do appreciate the stuff. I was thinking almost of getting the JVC XI or even
Oh, yes.
the like the Sega CDX, just because of
Skipping through
convenience. But
we're just skipping through the tricks here, as we always do. There's Jimmy Connors from Goodfellas. Everyone knows Jimmy, right? He's also a tennis player. Cutthroat says, Jaguar video game, really that happened? What? Did it come out? Yes, it did. Buddy, I've showed my Jaguar so many times on the stream. Whoa. The system.
it's against TOS.
Yes. They even came out with the Jaguar CD, which is like super rare. Saturday Night Slam Masters. Don, just answer me. Am I on the big TV right now in the store? Yeah, what was that, 100-inch, dude?
I think close. I think he said 90. Maybe it was more.
Keep her up there, buddy. Keep her up there. Okay, we are moving on. Fatal Fury comes home as well. All these fighting games are coming home, of course, after Capcom's success with the World Warrior. Everyone's like, hey, maybe we can port ours over too. Not a bad idea. You hate tennis video games. Come on. You hate Pong, dude? How can you hate Pong?
The Mario tennis games are absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I think that first one was 64, right? Yeah.
I believe 64 and then GameCube.
Yeah, those are great games. Absolutely fantastic.
They're fun. Multiplayer.
T2 and Alien. Give me a break. Don says somebody did buy the Gunstar Hero. See, JP's paying attention.
Pepperidge Farms remembers.
Power Challenge Golf. I'd say I feel that way, Cutthroat, about the golf games.
But once again, I will argue the Mario golf games are super fun as well.
But that's kind of like, we're talking about like super high impact football and stuff like NFL Blitz, NBA Jam. That's like, I'm not a sports dude, right? But that's like the fun part of the sports, where it keeps going. It's not slowed down by the actual realistic rules.
Right.
I think if you do that with golf as well, yeah, like Mario Golf would be great. Hot Shots Golf was also pretty fun.
I'm not huge into tennis or golf myself as a sport dude, but the Mario ones that I have played are fun. And I think I want to say Tiger Woods 07 for the Wii.
Yep.
I enjoyed that one because you actually Wiimote with it.
And then that makes sense too. Even everyone's played Wii Sports. I think it's the biggest selling home pack-in of all time. But bowling and tennis on those, they're fantastic. Would they be as great without the motion controls? I would say probably not.
Yeah, I agree.
But what's up, J-Mac? New Blitz 2000 for PS1 goes for $600. Woo! Billy says, I have Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf. Have no idea who Trevino was. Arnold Palmer for the win for the Genesis. I'm just saying. Okay. Here's some Spider-Man comic news here. Hero Illustrated. There's Amazing Fantasy. Oh no, that's Spider-Man 1 right there. Cool. Cool, man.
12 cents.
Behind the scenes, we're getting the making of Phantasy Star 4, which was the fourth Phantasy Star, the fourth and final single player, I believe, before they went to online on the Dreamcast. Unless Japan got some others I'm unaware of. Who knows? Oh, here we are. All right, buddy, you want to kick us off? Let the fights begin.
Mortal Kombat. Let the fights begin. It seems fighting games are the trend, and Mortal Kombat is here to take a piece of the pie. Pie. After the unchallenged success of other fighting games, it seemed that nothing would break its ironclad hold on the arcades. The ironclad hold on the arcades. Then a new game appeared with digitized graphics so clear and sound so sharp, it looked as if you were controlling actors instead of video images. The name Mortal Kombat has since been a favorite in game rooms. What has drawn the attention away from the hottest game of all time? One quick glance will show you how far digitization has come.
Okay, I'll tag in here. Again, guys, we are 4 super chats away from the goal today, which is a special stream of Friday the 13th for the Switch. Yes, which was purchased at Big Time Gamers. Don't worry, there are plenty of games that we have not revealed. But this you can actually play the single player. It's going to be a lot of fun on this day of taking out camp counselors. Okay, if you had your choice, JP, would you take this arcade machine or MK2 or MK3? If you could have the full-size arcade in your house, what would you pick?
Ultimate 3, that's the one that I mostly played, familiar with. There's more of a, so Ultimate MK3, more of a character select as well, so that's the one I would go with.
I would also add to that and say that Mortal Kombat 1, although I did appreciate it, was not nearly one of my favorites until I did this last history video. Then I really appreciated the game a lot more and what actually went into it and how it was a team of only 4 people that made the game, which is insane in Chicago. You guys can check that out on the channel now. But I definitely have a newfound love for the first game for sure. J-Max says, what's up? When are we going to play some Mario Kart World? I have to get a Switch 2, my friend, before. But I've watched a ton of streamers play, and that game looks like it's fire. It looks so good. The characters in Mortal Kombat are obviously... What? MK is obviously a fighting game, but it's... Oh, that goes over here. The characters in the backgrounds are very detailed and great sound, voice, and effects. You already have the makings of an arcade giant, but there is more. There is a unique controller, a special endurance rounds, and maybe most of all, the incredible display of violence and gore. When coupled all together, it spells success for any format it appears on. How close can the home market come? Only programmers will know for sure. Yeah. And did you have this back in the day?
The first,
like the actual. This is basically they're talking about converting the home game to, the arcade game to the home console.
Yeah, I still have Mortal Kombat 1, which I recently replaced at the Toronto Retro Game Expo. That's how I played Mortal Kombat, was Sega Genesis, and then obviously the arcade cabinets.
Yeah, the Mortal Monday holiday, which was September 13th, 1993. I remember it well, as I was in high school, and my buddy Skylar and we walked to our local Jumbo Video. We skipped school, of course, as we often did, because we hated it. Anyway, we walked down there, and he rented Mortal Kombat for the Sega Genesis, and I rented it for the Super Nintendo. We both had both systems, but he got his and I got mine so we could compare, because we knew that there was going to be significant differences, both positive and negative, on each home version. So, as we know, the Super Nintendo, I guess you could say, technically had the better graphics overall. The sprites were larger, but it suffered, Josh. It suffered from a lot of things.
Yeah, Nintendo was against the gore, blood, right, and violence. But yeah, more colors, I guess, better sprites or graphics on the SNES compared to Sega. But when you compare the Sega CD or even Saturn to the SNES, which are later console releases, anyways, they improved their game with Sega. So
Yeah, I think the Sega CD was almost arcade perfect. It was pretty close. But yeah, the Super Nintendo, so because Nintendo didn't like blood, like Josh was saying, they didn't like blood in their games, they replaced it with clear liquid, which I
sweat.
only can assume is sweat. I don't want to hear anything else in the chat. You guys are a bunch of sickies, but it was sweat. And then the fatalities were all changed, I
Right.
think, except Kano's. And Kano just ended up pulling out nothing from the chest. His hand would kind of disappear in the chest and he would pull out and be holding nothing, which
Something like that.
Sub Zero's was kind of cool. If you guys remember, Sub Zero actually froze somebody and then smashed them to pieces with one hit. That was pretty neat. The Genesis, yeah, Matt said I had the Genesis version of MK Fun Times. The Genesis one had, weaker graphics because the Genesis had a not as bright of a color palette as the Super Nintendo, but I think the sound was better on the Genesis version. And of
Yes.
course, you could put the blood code in.
Wasn't there also a difference between so Scorpion, some people know it as come here, and others know it as get
Yes.
over here. I
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
get over here more than the come here. But
And I don't know why they changed that for the home version.
um
I have no clue.
I'm not too sure.
I think oh yeah, the pit fatality was in the Super Nintendo version as well, but the guy just kind of landed up beside the spikes, but you didn't see anything. Um my issue with this game back then was I just didn't think I thought it was really, really cheesy compared to Street Fighter. I did. As a huge fan as I am of digitized graphics, I think maybe stuff that came before it, like Pit Fighter that Atari made, was just so awful looking that the thought of a digitized fighting game just it didn't really do it for me. I was never drawn in by the violence. It was definitely cool at the time, but I never thought that the fatalities or the blood in Mortal Kombat gave it an edge over Street Fighter. What do you think?
I wouldn't say gave it an edge, but it was just something cool to look forward to, I guess. Something new that was like bringing stuff to the next level of just like, whoa, right? But
Yeah, I mean, Ed
whether it
Boon,
made it or not, I don't know. I don't think that's what they were really going for. I think it just kind of wound up being that way. But
Ed Boon had said that basically in Street Fighter, when you get hit and you get up and you have stars where your character is dazed,
right,
you get a free shot. He said that he felt that was a wasted opportunity in Street Fighter. So
and that's
that's where he
why
came
he
up with
came
the
up with
idea for the
fatality.
fatality. Yeah. So you couldn't daze the opponent anywhere except at the very end of the final match.
Right.
And then that's when you could do a final blow. Now, what I do like about Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter was, especially, you talk MK3 and Ultimate MK3, the secrets.
Hmm.
And MK3 had the codes. And I believe, if memory serves me correctly, in the arcade, they were on a timer. New characters would unlock by either a timer internally or the codes. Do you guys remember
Um,
offhand?
it's hard for me to recall. It's been a while since I played an Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 cabinet,
Yeah.
but there's definitely secret characters in 1, 2, and 3, and as well as I don't know if there is an Ultimate 3, but I remember Smoke, like Ninja Smoke, and Jade, and Noob Saibot.
Right.
for number 2, I believe. And there was definitely, the codes. This is almost like a little slot machine thing where you'd pick different symbols in a sequence, and it would
Yep.
do certain things, as well as beating the game with certain characters or on certain difficulties or even flawless, and then sometimes just typing in more or less the code to say unlock a level or a character.
Yeah, that was one thing that they did have over Street Fighter, I will say, even to this day. We're talking early Street Fighter, early Mortal Kombat, not today's stuff. Um, but just the trading of the secrets in arcades where kids would, whisper to each other, "Oh, I know how to do the fatalities." And I remember just you would never always see one, right? So I would watch people play Mortal Kombat in the arcades a lot because it was kind of intimidating to me, to be honest. So I'd watch and you would see people trying to do it and trying to figure out the fatalities. And even when they knew the code, sometimes they didn't enter it right. So it was always something really, really special. Again, this is my opinion. 2, pretty good. The friendships and the fatalities. And then 3, it started to get a little silly. Right? You had the babalities, which was stupid. Animalities also, I think, are stupid. It just got a little wacky, and that's when you would do some fatalities. Remember, Josh, when the guy would explode and he had like 3 heads and like 8 arms and stuff like that. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, there was, like you said, babyality and animality and friendship and stuff like that. Kirby mentioned in the chat he had a buddy that had a full notebook full of codes for MK3.
That's
I
cool.
I still have mine.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
These printer pages are literally from June 21st, 1999. Hard to see, but there's the date down there. It's backwards because my camera is backwards.
Whoa.
But so I printed out like a bunch of the codes and stuff like that to be able to do that.
Man, that is so cool you have that. Holy cow.
Yeah, still have it.
That's hardcore. I'm not hating HGC. No, not hating. Just explaining back then why I liked Street Fighter more. That's all. That's all. Again, like I said, I certainly have a better appreciation, especially for the first one. And there is something to be said about Street Fighter 2 and the original Mortal Kombat. Maybe I would even say Mortal Kombat 2, where you didn't have to memorize 3,000 button inputs to do combos. That's where it started to really fall off. Like for MK3, memorizing the fatality as well as the combo button system. I was never a guy that was into Killer Instinct or any of that stuff. It was just too much. I liked the purity of the first Street Fighter 2 and the first Mortal Kombat, where it was just, if you landed an uppercut, it was devastating. It would take like a quarter health off. I like that. Okay, do you want to continue? What are you showing off? Go for it.
Well, one of my more recent movie streams, we watched Mortal Kombat the movie on Laserdisc.
Laserdisc. Look at this guy. Gonna hold that up, buddy.
And that was fun. Yep, I'm just organizing things that need to be organized, but there you go.
Look at that. But that's a beauty. On Laserdisc. Who had a Laserdisc player?
There you go.
So cool. I used to have one back in the day until it broke. Just wore out watching all those Kevin Smith movies, getting up and flipping the disc every hour on the hour. Okay, I'll start here. Mortal Kombat is obviously a fighting game, but it's more than a simple fight that makes this an arcade hit. Sure, there are 6 regular fights, but then there's also mirror matches when you fight your evil twin. After the action really heats up is an endurance match where you fight 2 foes consecutively with only 1 bar of energy. There are a couple of bosses for added fun and even several bonus rounds to break up the heated combat. And I got to tell you, when I was recording all the footage for my History of Mortal Kombat video, those were the hardest fights, were those endurance matches. Like, those are brutal, man. How awesome is the Mortal Kombat soundtrack? Oh, Dan, it's great. And did you know that the Mortal Kombat, that scream in that song was from the TV commercial for when Mortal Kombat came home? I had no idea. How cool is that, though? All right. Would you like to read the controller dilemma?
Sure. The controller dilemma. Once again, the new demanding games push the video game hardware, especially in the area of controllers, to the limits. Mortal Kombat is a 5-button game as shown by the diagram to the right. The Super Nintendo and Genesis systems both happen to have 6-button controllers, which allow for perfect game control. But what about playing Mortal Kombat on the portables? Sources indicate that the various moves will be performed by using the select button, which will allow you to toggle between punching and kicking. This could get very tricky, but it will be done, and done very well, we hope.
Nice. Well, we know that the Game Boy famously failed only because, well, many reasons, but the two buttons, as we can see, like, how are you going to play Mortal Kombat with two buttons? Like, how?
Didn't they have limited character select too? Or maybe I'm thinking of another one for.
No, I think they were missing Johnny Cage or Liu Kang from the Game Boy.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. They're missing somebody or something, and
Yeah. Like, they're just missing that one. Super Nintendo, good. You got all the buttons, configure it how you will. Genesis was rough unless you had the Sega 6 button. You would have had to get creative on the mapping of the buttons there. Game Gear, I'm sure it looks fine, but again, you have two buttons. I don't know how you're going to do that. How would you do that, It would just be rough. The Mortal Kombat training grounds. Okay, so before you take on this game, whether in the arcade or at home, you'll have to learn the art of fighting. There are plenty of great moves and combos, but start off with the basic techniques. A very simple but effective move is the rapid pressing of the punch button when your foe gets close. Well, you don't say. Punch them in the face. It's amazing. This wears them down and stops them from performing moves. We all know this, guys. Mortal Kombat 1, you just press, and the guy keeps getting hit like rapidly. We used to make fun of that back in the day. I'm just saying. Just saying.
little rapid jabs.
I can't do that R thing. I'll leave that to you. I won't even try. No, I'm not even going to try. If you're really close, you may want to press low punch and forward to throw them. Another close combat skill to learn is the sweep, back, and low kick. This will drop even a blocking opponent who's standing up. Also, you must learn to tap block to perform moves and then quickly block again. From far away master to special moves to gain ground in the upper hand. Yeah. What do you think about the block button? So that was something really different than Street Fighter.
I enjoy it. It becomes super useful, when you can predict another enemy's attack, whether it be like a suit, like as an example, say Sub-Zero's freeze, right? If you can't dodge that, then your only option is to block it or you get frozen. So
what about you guys in the chat? Did you like the addition of the block button? So they shook things up by having only 2 attacks instead of 3 like Street Fighter did, but a dedicated button to block. What do you guys think? Again, back in the day, wasn't a fan of it, mainly because I was used to just pulling back in Street Fighter, but it does add for more strategy, I think, because you can backpedal and not be automatically in the block position.
right.
So that's kind of cool. Who was your guy, dude, in the original?
In the original, it would have been Raiden, then probably Scorpion.
Let's put a poll up here. I can't put all 7 fighters, but we can. Josh, I'll let you pick the 4 guys we put in the poll here to see who the best Mortal Kombat fighter is.
Well, I would go with Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, probably Liu Kang. Liu Kang.
Is Liu Liu?
Yeah, LiukanG.
And then Scorpion, Raiden, Liu Kang, and who else?
Sub-Zero. I feel like that's probably, some people pick Kano or Johnny Cage or Sonya Blade, but
That's Josh's 4 for the original Mortal Kombat. Choose your fighter. Scorpion all day. When I was shooting that video, the history of video, Johnny Cage became my guy.
really,
Yeah, he was really fun. But I learned about Daniel Pazina and everything that he contributed to the game.
right.
So I was like,
He's
okay.
multiple characters, right?
What's an Ermac?
He's later, yeah.
I'm kidding. He's the red ninja. I know. Okay, so we got Liu Kang. Oh, this is showing the fatalities. This is pretty cool. Yeah, Liu Kang's in this one. Do you remember his fatality? It's pretty lame.
Not this specific
So
one.
it's showing right here. He just does a cartwheel to an uppercut.
And then the guy's head comes off.
No, it doesn't even come off.
He
just
okay.
flies in the air and lands back down.
Lame.
Yeah. Johnny Cage, yeah, he did the punching off the head.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Or he'd elbow shadow. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did that in the Super Nintendo one, right? He did the shadow kick or whatever.
Well, he had a shadow kick, but in like a shadow elbow. But I could have sworn I recall one where he shadow elbowed the guy's head comes off.
Probably. Den says Liu Kang is my cheap shot character. Yeah, his is forward than the button, right? So he's super easy to
forward, low punch, forward, high punch was high fireball or low fireball. And then even if you just hold low kick, I believe, for like 3 seconds, you get to do a bicycle kick.
That's right, yeah. Scorpion all day, says Gamer. The first one, I would have to, I gotta go mainstream. I would have to go Sub-Zero. That, like, freezing the enemy in place, especially when he's just standing there, there's your combo. So uppercut to jump kick to slide kick. It's just crazy. And there's like half his health gone in one move. So good. But I will say Kano's the underdog, but he's got a pretty brutal fatality, man. I remember his and Sub-Zero's. Sub-Zero's is the best in this game. Let's just be honest here. But Kano's was a pretty close second, ripping out the beating heart. Oh, it's rough, dude. Sonya Blade, the burning kiss of death. Might want to get checked out for that. I'm just saying. And the chiropractor nightmare. Yeah. Wonder why they chose the spine rip for Sub-Zero. See, I like the idea of freezing somebody with Sub-Zero and breaking them apart like the Super Nintendo. And Kano should do the spine rip. I think that would be cool. Matt, was it his fatality specifically? And I'm going to do a history of the ESRB video. I have to, because I want to talk about this game.
It's a good idea.
And Night Trap really badly. But I got to find Night Trap. Don, if you're still in the chat, I need a red box Sega CD Night Trap.
Well, you did get the PS4 collector's special edition at the Toronto Retro Game Expo. New and open, did you not?
I did. It's still unopened. Yeah, but it's just me. It's my, I don't even know if it's OCD. I don't know what you call it. Me being anal, but I need the exact game I'm talking about.
Right.
Plus, I'd like to own a copy of the original Sega CD one. I don't even know what that's worth, dude. Like,
I'm sure somebody in the chat might be able to eBay search that up.
It's got to be worth a lot. Well, I don't want to spoil too much about our video, but we did see a second released version of the Sega CD one, which is the blue spine with Dana Plato on the cover. But that's the re-release after they switched from cardboard to the regular boxes.
Right.
Raiden's fatality. Your guy. Do you like his head explosion?
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Just shocking the guy completely until his head pops like a dirty old zit. Boom, done.
Like that's pretty bad arse, if you ask me. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
pretty great. Thanks, Don. I appreciate that, buddy. What's going on, K-Mac? Welcome on into the stream. Guys, if anyone's looking to support the stream, gifted memberships would be a great way to do that. We need to get big time gamers here. We need to get the Dawn of Gaming in green. Now, I know we can't choose who gets the memberships. It's just a roll of the dice, but we got to get Dawn. Come on, let's hear it for big time gamers. Scorpion's Breath of Fire. This is probably, I would say, the most famous of all the fatalities, yeah?
Yeah, probably the bad breath, fire, death.
Easiest to do, too. You hold block and hit up. I think it's pretty much.
Scorpion's a great character, but such little special moves, right? He's got the slide, the spear cord, and then the teleport punch. That is it.
I don't think he slides, does he?
No, he doesn't. So then that would just be Sub-Zero and
Yeah.
Reptile then. I thought he had
Oh,
the slide kick.
Reptile's my favorite of the ninjas by far. I love
Same.
that
I
character.
always liked Reptile in Ultimate 3.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's got the teleport punch here, but you know when I played a bunch of Mortal Kombat over the last couple months, and sometimes I just don't know if I didn't figure it out. Sometimes he would go off the screen onto the other side, and sometimes he would just teleport
Yeah.
away, and it was very like inconsistent with what it did.
So it depends, I believe, if you back yourself up against the wall or like to the end of the screen. You know how you can only go so far left or right? I believe that's when it would kind of fail.
Okay. So it's an offensive move as well as a defensive move to escape kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay. I was just looking at it as basically just a teleport punch to smack the guy, but
Scorpion, in my opinion, pretty simple character to use, but definitely lethal and deadly. And he's probably one of the coolest.
yeah, the undead ninja, he's awesome. I was gonna put in my video that it kind of mirrored Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe, the yin and yang kind of deal, but I think their stories are just a bit different. What about Goro, our sub boss? You a fan of Goro?
Yeah, I like Goro.
He's cool, especially finding out that he was a claymation,
Yeah.
not a puppet, but he was a stop motion 12-inch clay figurine, animated one frame at a time, like the Ray Harryhausen stuff. Really, really cool, man. Subsequent, you're gonna have to help me here, JP. We got Kintaro next,
Kintaro.
and then the Minotaur guy, right?
Mentor or
Mataro.
Mortaro.
Yeah. Kintaro, I always thought was just a bootleg ripoff of Goro. Goro was always great. And if you guys have seen the Mortal Kombat film from 95, the way they did Goro was so wicked. It's almost like the same kind of puppetry as they did with Big Bird. I don't know how many of you guys know, but Big Bird was, the guy was seeing through Big Bird's chest. I can't remember his name. Rob would know. But his hand was held up here. So the guy's hand was actually Big Bird's mouth and stuff like that. I feel like Goro was kind of the same kind of construction that way. It's very cool. What's up, Raj? Jay, do you know the details of how Capcom went from Street Fighter 1, a game no one remembers, to the amazing Street Fighter 2? Could you do a video on that? The change of the impact boggles my mind. I don't, dude. Yeah, Street Fighter 1 is pretty bad. Like, it's a pretty bad game. It's kind of one that's been lost when you're talking about the history of Street Fighter. 1 kind of gets pushed away. Like, I really feel like Street Fighter 2 is the first of that, even having Ken and Ryu in the first game. I still feel like Street Fighter 2 is the first one.
Got a nice complete unbox, like a Genesis Special Champion Edition.
Oh, let's show that up. I'll get you Bing here. Go for it. Yeah, we are just talking about that one. Before the ESRB, we had the game systems just doing their own ratings. MA13, that's pretty cool. Yep, the console wars continue. What did you miss, Cutthroat? Rewind, buddy. Gamer says, I remember using Johnny Cage and performing his head pop uppercut fatality on Sub-Zero and Scorpion and have 2 or 4 heads pop off. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a glitch, right? Yeah. In the arcade.
Yeah. Goro was cool. And then Shang Tsung, who was also played by Ho Sung Pak, who played Liu Kang, which was also pretty cool. Really cool that he could morph into others. We finally get to use Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 2. I don't know if you ever used him, Josh, but unless you were like the master of Mortal Kombat, being Shang Tsung was kind of pointless.
I played Mortal Kombat 2 so much that I learned every single character's move, fatality, and beat the game with every single character.
Whoa.
I did like using Shang Tsung in the MK versus DC, I believe, for the 360 as well as PS3.
Yeah.
He was like really OP in that. He was decent in Ultimate 3 as well, I believe.
Cutthroat, I say rewind because you asked what did you miss. So I said rewind. I don't know how long you've been gone, buddy. Raj is celebrating party time. It's Friday. Rebecca Black. Let's go. For 500 years, this behemoth has been hailed as the grand champion. No, we're not talking about Cutthroat Comics. We're talking about Goro. One look at his huge multi-armed creature and you'll know the reason why. His arsenal of moves is limited, but his attacks do incredible damage. He is also fast for his size and relentlessly keeps charging at you. Your only chance is to use your special attacks to wear him down, but that won't be easy. Reginald.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know. It reminds me of Reginald. So.
It's like Reginald, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good name.
I like your name for Mutron too, Mutronics.
I like that too. It just
That's
rolls
good.
off the tongue really well.
Okay, you want to read Shang Tsung's little blurb here?
Yes, your host for the tournament, Shang Tsung. Your final and greatest challenge. Early on, the tournament was filled with honor until Shang Tsung became Grand Master. Under a curse, he stole the souls of his victims. Eventually, he was defeated and enlisted the help of pupil Goro. Now he is once again in control and is corrupting the fights. He has the ability to transform into any character as shown to the right. Example there, or whatever way.
Yeah.
He also has powerful magic fireballs that shoot out in multiples. If this wasn't bad enough, he can float across the ground at incredible speeds and is very hard to catch. He is the last and toughest of the Mortal Kombaters.
The Mortal Kombaters.
I definitely enjoyed, I think, in MK versus DC, as well as Ultimate 3, I believe. You can choose to do one of the fireballs or 2 or 3 or
Oh, right.
constantly spit out 3 kind of thing, or just throw people off by changing it up.
I remember that. I really want to play Ultimate 3 again. And you know what? We were also talking when we were at Dawn's, we were talking about Trilogy outside. Do you remember because they had like versions of Kano? Remember, you could be like Kano from 3 or you could be Kano from the first game. Do you remember if you could be Shang Tsung from this original game or not?
I don't believe so.
No?
But
That would be really cool.
They never made him really, unless more of the recent ones I'm not familiar, but his look in this one compared to 2 and even 3, you wouldn't even think it's the same character.
Yeah.
This is my favorite look of him for sure.
The
original, yeah.
The ancient master look. Curb Stomp, you have yourself a good Friday the 13th, buddy.
The Big Trouble in Little China look.
Yeah. The question of gore and more. The gore pit. Oh, I see what you did there, EGM. I like it. Gamer says he was not able. He was not a able playable character in Mortal Kombat trilogy. Okay, man, I really want that trilogy now.
I was really
Like,
on a big hunt for some Mortal Kombat games.
yeah, and I think I asked you this there, but like, are you gonna get Mythology Sub Zero? Are you gonna get
No,
Special Forces?
no.
Special Forces would be kind of neat, just because it's so goofy.
I watched your Hell Ride Monday of both of those, and
You know, Special Forces at least has the Metal Gear coat of
yes,
paint on it. The Mythologies, dude, you have to play it. Just
I have
it's
back in the
terrible.
day. My
Oh my.
cousin said he beat that game, the Sub-Zero Mythologies. That was N64, correct?
It was N64 and PlayStation.
PS1, you're right. I'd be more inclined to play the Special Forces game, just because. But yeah, they look like torture. Um, but if I had to choose, but to be fair, like I said, I have tried out the mythologies before.
Throughout these 8 pages of Mortal Kombat previews, there have been a lot of screens from every major home video game system. Now, remember, guys, at this point in June of 93, this game has still not been released to the home. All MK fans are looking for is one thing and one thing only: blood. The game's trademark is the violent fatalities and its abundant use of blood. One scene in particular, dubbed The Pit, is particularly gory, with a bed of full spikes and body parts awaiting any who get knocked off the beam. Shown to the right. All right, I tag you in for part 2.
Will the home versions retain these features? Look back over the pictures and all the moves and see that even the fatalities are present in all versions. The amount and detail of the blood and guts is still pending. Nintendo. Sources assure us that the end product will be as close to the arcade as possible. And from these early pictures, it looks as if they are very close. Just check out the set of pictures on the far right. All versions, even the Super NES, show blood and gore. As far as other features such as the elusive extra character, the reptile, combos, and bonus rounds, well, we'll all just have to wait for production prototypes. From the outstanding effort thus far, it seems all the graphics and hopefully sounds will make this the best arcade to home video game translation.
You'll never beat me on any format. Is that an actual quote from Goro? Looks pretty legit to me. Shaolin Monks. That was good. Bat Stan, was it not? I remember that one being good. That was on PS2.
Yeah, I was waiting for some guy to message me back. Maybe I should message him. Um, yeah, on
Yeah,
Facebook.
like that would be
List.
a cool quest for you, JP, is to get every Mortal Kombat game. I think that would be
Oh,
fun.
I don't want every Mortal Kombat game, but there was
Game Boy.
no, yeah, there's a few that I'd like to um, acquire for my Mortal collection.
And right here in the pages of EGM, you guys see you can enter to win your very own Mortal Kombat arcade machine. Now the contest might be over, but I would say send it in anyway.
Yeah, apparently nobody's won this yet.
Yeah, go to Retro Mags. Shout out to Retro Mags for archiving this gaming history. Download yourself a copy of this and just print this off. 20 easy steps. Send in this Mortal Kombat contest entry form, which looks completely legit, and see if you win. See if you win. I should stream Superman 64. Oof. I think I've only ever got past the first ring set, and I think there's 2 before you even could start playing the game.
something like that. Yeah.
Not fun, man. Not fun whatsoever.
What's going on
Continuing
here?
on. Hey, what's up, my friend? 13.99 super chat. Appreciate that very much, my friend. Morning, gents. Loving the MK content as of late. Have a good weekend. Hey, thank you for dropping that super chat. Much appreciated, man. Hair pops in from here and now. It's great, and I appreciate the support, dude. We are 3 away from our Friday the 13th stream. 3 super chats away. Okay. Oh, Raj, here you go. I think here's a little bit of your history right here. Yeah, look at this, Raj. You were asking. Here you go, buddy. 86. Street Fighter 1 came out to the arcades. In September of 87, we got Fighting Streets. Again, I don't know why they changed the name for the Turbo, but they put it on the TurboGrafx CD. And then, JP, we got Street Fighter 2010 on the NES. Ugh. And then Street Fighter 2, and the rest is history. So there you go. History of Final Fight. Yeah, there's Fighting Street right there. I have no idea why the name change.
Maybe just to be different, or some sort of licensing legal issue. That's my guess.
Yeah, because to my knowledge, Capcom didn't put this on the Turbo. I think it was translated by Hudson, I think. Or NEC, I can't remember.
Huh.
But yeah, this one's rough. I've played this. It's on my Street Fighter 1-Up arcade. It's really, really not good. But important for history's sake, of course. But there you go, Raj. Getting into Champion Edition here. Now, we all know that JP is a Mortal Kombat kid. Bits, were you a Street Fighter kid?
Not much. Obviously I played some cabs in my day, and I used to have. Well, I recently obtained this again, but yeah, I used to have this and used to play it a fair bit. But yeah, it was more Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it really was like, Stones versus Beatles back in the day. It really was one or the other. Where now it's like we're much more accepting of all of it. Like we appreciate this game for that and this game for that. But back in the day, man, you had to pick. You liked Street Fighter or you liked Mortal Kombat. There was no liking both. We liked them both. I'm just saying. Did we do the poll again? Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. We've done it like 10 times. But congrats to Scorpion for winning 56%, followed by Raiden at 22, Sub-Zero at 17, and Liu Kang at a measly 6. He's the friggin' hero of the game.
I think, like I said, because Scorpion had such minimal amount of moves or whatever, and they're pretty easy, he's kind of a fan favorite.
Yeah, and I will say Mortal Kombat is almost like the anti-Street Fighter as well, where a lot of the guys in Mortal Kombat, the popular ones were the quote-unquote bad guys. Right? Like, who are the popular guys? Kano, Sub-Zero, Scorpion. There you go. Johnny Cage is my hero. Johnny Cage. You mean Frank Dux from Bloodsport?
Apparently, there's the new Mortal Kombat movie number 2 is on its way.
Yeah, they just dropped a few stills, and Scorpion and Sub-Zero look wild.
There was talks about like a test audience or something like that for the trailer, and people were blown away.
Yeah, they were calling it. I can't remember. It's like basically it's going to do it justice, right?
Yeah, I just saw it the other day, and I was like, okay, so this is happening.
Did you guys see that Mel Brooks announced Spaceballs 2?
Yes,
Finally.
So 2027. Matt, yeah, I agree.
I've never seen that one.
There was just too much character introduction. It's like, and new characters too. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like it
That
was
was
entertaining, watch it, but like it's not something I'd purchase to own or like probably watch again.
and that was one of the big problems with Annihilation amongst everything else. But we're talking like the sequel to the original movie. It was just like new character after new character, and you
Right.
don't really learn anything about them. But the cast of Mortal Kombat, the '90s Mortal Kombat, is so vast.
Also with Annihilation, they changed up a couple of the actors, which I think that
Yeah,
hurts big time.
we were talking about James Remar, who's one of my favorite actors, who took over for Christopher. What's his name?
Lambert, Highlander.
Yeah, he took over Raiden's role. And I love James Remar. I think he's a fantastic actor. But as Raiden, nah, sorry,
I agree.
not so much. Unfortunately, Lambert. Jay, what is Spaceballs? It's a Mel Brooks movie. It's a parody of Star Wars and Star Trek and all that stuff.
Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement to play.
Is he doing it? Is he
Dark,
playing
that's what
Helmet?
I read. Dark Helmet, yeah. And even Mel Brooks is at age of 98 gonna reprise his role of Yogurt,
Mel Brooks is 98.
something like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Whoa. Yeah, I saw Bill Pullman and Bill Pullman's son are going to be in it as well. You know, we're going to be missing Big John, though. We're going
Yeah,
to be missing John Candy, unfortunately. And even Joan Rivers, she did the voice of Dot Matrix.
Hmm.
So, but who knows? I think it'll be cool. I wonder if they're actually going to call it The Search for More Money. But anyway, Super Empire Strikes Back. These are always fun games. These there was Star Wars, 3 Star Wars games that came out on Super. Lots of fun. Hard as hell. Hard as hell.
I've got one of them loose for SNES.
Yeah, I still think the hardest was the first one. I think Star Wars was the most difficult.
I think that's the one I have.
Final Fight 2. Hey, buddy. Final Fight 2. This is a fantastic game. Even Final Fight 3. These are all on Super Nintendo. They're all really great sequels. Very expensive, too, if you're a collector. They're going to cost you a pretty penny, especially if you want it CIB. Josh's favorite word, CIB. CIB, baby.
I was gonna make a joke, but it's too crude.
Well, we'll save that for the late stream. All right, let's have JP take over this one. This is one of your games that you like.
Yeah. Well, here's a nice CIB SNES version of that.
Oh, baby, look at that.
And I have the Sega Genesis one kicking around somewhere.
Really? I don't think I've seen that.
I was unaware of it as well. Trust me, I have it, but it's in a pile.
No, that's okay.
And I recently picked up on it's free on Xbox Game Pass right now through the Retro Arcade collection of BattleNet, but it's also available on BattleNet. I bought it.
Which is crazy. And this, I'm not going to hijack this from you, but this, I just want to say because, Blizzard, still one of my favorites. They hit or miss nowadays, but Blizzard actually made this game. But back in the day, I didn't know the difference between developer and publisher. So we get it published by Interplay. But this game is actually made by Blizzard. So yeah, that's why it's so damn good, right?
They bought it. Blizzard bought out, I think, Interplay. So
yeah,
the Lost Vikings, which I have a loose cart there. I don't have it CIB yet. It's kind of expensive, but I got like 1 and 2, I think, loose for Saga and then SNES as well. But Den, awesome.
Before Josh dives into rock and roll racing, we got Den with the $2 super chat. Let's go, buddy. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. We're 2 away from the Friday the 13th Switch stream. So if you guys want that, you have till the end of this stream. And that will be on a separate stream, of course, but we'll do that this afternoon. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Great soundtrack on this game as well, and they're
Oh,
both
dude,
different.
Black Sabbath?
They're different soundtracks. A couple different songs on between
Really?
the Sega and the SNES version. Yeah, I streamed this recently and beat it on easy mode.
Not
Anyway,
ashamed to admit, Josh, that the first time that I heard any version of Paranoid was in this Super Nintendo game.
nice.
So there you go.
Let the carnage begin. Rock and rollers and race drivers. I'm trying to do the voice of Larry, but I suck. Start your guitars and engines. Here comes interplay with a hot racer that will knock your socks off in this perspective racer similar to RC Pro AM. Pro Am.
Pro-Am, yeah.
Um, I know.
Actually, Pro-Am, sorry.
Race to the Sounds of Peter Gunn by Henry Mancini. Born to be Wild by Steppenwolf. Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood, and many more. There's an option that lets you race alone or against a friend. I remember playing this game with a friend. We stayed up all night until we beat it.
I always thought that this was a sequel to RC Pro-Am,
It kind of is, I think.
right? Like it's the
Yeah.
same 3/4 isometric kind of view. Anyway, sorry, continue.
You can also purchase several upgrades for your vehicles, including modified engines, armor, and missiles to blast the opponent apart. Your ranking after race determines how much money you will be awarded. All this including a great hosting and commentary by Larry Huffman. What more could you ask for? Um,
Okay. Are you is everyone gonna freak out because I don't know who Larry Huffman is? Should I know?
he's the voice announcer, and you know what? Somebody was mentioning I was streaming NHL '98 last night and the past couple streams, and it's a very similar voice. And somebody says that the NHL '98 voice sounds like the Need for Speed voice, and I'm wondering if all three are the same. I'd have to look up the credits for all the games or whatever.
Okay.
Anybody that hasn't played, I highly recommend. This game is super fun. Get it on Xbox Game Pass for free right now if you have Xbox Game Pass, or buy it on BattleNet for like $10.
75
It,
cents.
you get a bunch of games. You get Blackthorn, the Pro
Oh,
C,
great game.
the RC Pro Ams, the Lost Vikings, and Rock and Roll Racing for like $10. So
RC Pro-Am was actually made by Rare. That's who I was thinking of. But that game is solid too. Looks like we made our goal. Big shout out to Cutthroat Comics for the $2 donation. Let's do it. And the Mighty Mutron with the $4.99. Thank you guys. We hit our goal of 5 super chats for the stream. So we will be doing a stream right after of Friday the 13th on the Nintendo Switch, which the game is dead. You cannot play it, but if you have the Switch one, we get to go as Jason and beat up counselors without having to be online. So again, this is important for gaming history if anyone gives a lips about Friday the 13th. So thank you, everyone.
fun fact, I used to be a camp counselor a long time ago, and some guy Jason used to beat me up. No, I'm just joking. But I was a camp counselor. There was just no Jason that used to beat me up.
Josh, how do I make I don't know. What do you do in camp? How do I make a knot in this rope? You're like, I don't know, man. Go play in the lake. That kid unfortunately drowned in his name.
There was
Jason.
there there was
Josh's fault.
some tough times being a camp counselor. But there was also a lot of fun, good memory times. It did not,
Rewarding, I would imagine too. I imagine it would be rewarding.
well, it definitely didn't pay well. So
Well, no, the reward is in teaching the youngsters, right? That's the reward. It
the
certainly
rewarding
isn't.
part was all the little mini games and activities that you just smoke all these little kids in.
Oh my God! All right,
Yes!
that's why you're not a counselor anymore. HGC with the $2. Thank you, my friend. Better late than never. Never.
Chungus.
Support Big Chungus. Big Chungus is dropped into the Discord. Yeah. What time will the stream be? It depends when Josh and I end. I will need at least a half an hour. Well, I will need a half hour to create a thumbnail and just schedule it. So we'll know closer to the end of this stream, Raj. Hang in there, buddy. It's coming. Friday the 13th is a lot of fun. If you guys don't know this game, it's a blast.
Yeah, I could read really quick or really slow.
Whatever. I'm here for you guys. Whatever you need. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next page. Again, rock and roll racing, like RC Pro Am, isometric 3/4 top down view, and you can upgrade your car
And weapons.
and weapons and stuff like that. In Pro Am, you get the stuff on the tracks. This, I believe, yeah, you buy from a store, correct?
Yeah, you can get gold on the track, and the higher placement that you finish, the more points or gold you get rewarded as well.
It's such a good game. And it's seeing this in the pages of EGM again and seeing Josh's CIB copy, it makes me definitely want to check it out. So check it out on Game Pass, guys, or go support a local game store. Buy a physical copy from a mom and pop shop today. Den says, Jay Bartlett, my friend's dad, used to tell us to play in traffic rather than go outside. Oh, I got that too from the neighbor's dad.
Big Time Gamers had as far as I know of, it was CIB, Rock and Roll Racing for the SNES. So if you're local to that area, you can buy that game there.
Bat Stan, at camp, we used to always pretend to be Jason and scare people. You causing trouble. There's that, Josh. I don't know if you were on the stream earlier. Can you see the cursor here, like the bottom right?
I can.
Look at that, man. I've never seen that before. That's
some
cool.
Old school graphics, some cartoon drawing. Yeah, no, I've never seen that either.
Mario and the chef apparel. I like that. It's very cool.
Mario cooking.
Total Carnage, the spiritual successor. Oh my god, spiritual successor to Smash TV. Another Midway classic. Mech Warrior. I know a bunch of you, Matt, Dan. I know you guys like this kind of thing. Don't recall this playing it on Super Nintendo, but it looks pretty cool. It's pretty cool nonetheless. Just yeah, if you want to talk about some, Josh, just call it out. RD Lightfoot. What? Mech Warrior Baseball 2020. Is this for Super Nintendo? Nice. Kawasaki Caribbean Challenge. Oof. Oh, this one's dedicated to Willie. Super Black Bass. Wing Commander was good. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Mark Hamill one. I think that's 3. Yeah, 3 and 4 have Mark Hamill in them.
I don't know if I've ever played a fishing game. Actually, maybe on the Wii. I think I had a little fishing thing. A fishing rod. Yeah, see, I've like fished once in my life.
Yeah, Will picked up I think it's
I remember
Sega whatever fishing with the rod, and I think if you had that peripheral, it would be cool. That'd be pretty fun. Here we go. Rocket Knight Adventures with the Mascot Wars beginning.
Look how cool he is, right?
What is he, a possum? Yeah, he's a possum. Or an armadillo. I don't even know.
Something like that with that tail.
Either way, this is Konami's, I guess, attempt at trying to make a platformer. I don't know. Is it good? Does anybody in the chat know? Anybody played this?
I feel like I've tried it once, but not very memorable. But maybe it was good. Maybe I just didn't give it a chance.
Maybe it's one we should revisit.
They even put the level layout there.
Matt says, it still kills me that Mark Hamill and all the other voice actors from Wing Commander voiced their characters in the Wing Commander animated series. Oh, I didn't know that. They did, right? Yeah. Huh, interesting. Killer Instinct on Super Nintendo has shipped with a music CD. Does anyone have that package? You're right. I believe you're right, Raj. I do not. No. MiG-29. Davis Cup. We need to get an R in the title so Josh can roll his R's. Final Fight for Sega CD.
It's fun once you start It becomes
I like how
addictive.
do you? I can't do it. I sound silly. Oh,
I,
Den, you've got the. There you go, Raj. Den has it.
I recently picked up I think it was Judgment Day for Sega,
Mm.
complete in the box.
Any Batman Returns fans out there? Here we go. This is. I think this is the one you were looking at for the Sega CD.
Yeah, there's the Saturn.
Yeah, this one is brutal for the Sega CD because there are so many driving parts on. It's just like everything on the road wants to kill you. And I haven't played it firsthand. It's just watching gameplay of people, yeah, watching streams of people play this. It's awful from what I hear.
Telling you, try Driver 1, the last level, the presidential run. That was torture.
Did you see that mall level in Vice City, man? Holy frig.
Yep, the Lance.
Like,
It was like that, but times 10. Like I did a whole stream of me just trying to beat the presidential run, which was like 4 hours. And I'd already attempted like 2 hours from the previous stream where I gave up. And then I decided a couple days later, I was like, all right, I'm going to return, try to beat this game. After 4 hours, I was like, I can't just keep wasting time. This is annoying. So I just turned on the invincibility cheat and finished the game.
so it's like the last level they're damaging your car. That was the problem.
Yeah, they come, like you said, magnets. They're so
Yeah.
much faster than you, and you're on a time limit, and yeah, the damage.
This is some really interesting Street Fighter art. What's going on here with Ryu and Bison? They look a little wild.
Yup, they look
Look a
dead.
little, I
Zombify.
mean, that's a style. That's a style. Super Turrican. It's another one I've heard good things about. I've never tried. Here you go, Matt. Star Trek: The Next Generation for the Game Boy by Absolute. Whew.
Hey,
Oof.
it could be fun.
It could be. It could be. I mean, what kind of game? It looks. Yeah, it looks like you're. Who's the ensign for Next Generation? No, Jordy's the engineer. Who's the ensign? Data and who else? You guys would know this in the chat. Anyway, it looks like you're from their point of view, so you're looking out just the screen. That might be fun. Who is it? O'Brien is the transporter controller. Worf is the security. Picard is the janitor, and Riker is the mission control. Wesley Crusher, yes, Wesley, thank you. I forgot about Will Wheaton. Good old Will. Rage and Fighter. Oh yeah, this game got reviewed. Looks pretty. I mean, it looks pretty something. Wesley by Will Wheaton. Love it. Here's the Land of Illusion for the Game Gear. Did you ever have a Game Gear?
No, I wouldn't be opposed to getting a Nomad though, but I have played a Game Gear. I remember playing, I think it was Sonic and Knuckles back in the early 90s. A guy I know had the Game Gear early on, and it was kind of mind blowing at the time. Like seeing it, yeah, it was big. Yeah, it took a lot of batteries, but the screen, you saw the Game Boy and you saw the Game Gear, but can anybody even name a game for the Game Gear? Like, what is the Game Gear even known for, right? I don't even know how many games came out on it, but
I see. I would agree. Rusty's waving at you, JP. I think, or she's waving goodbye. I don't know. She's waving wave to her. Yeah. As far as exclusives go, I couldn't tell you. I think of Sonic, but it's like a port of the Genesis,
right.
and like Land of Illusion. I think this is just a version of Castle of Illusion on Genesis. So yeah, what is the game that X-Men? HGC says X-Men, super fun game, but the only one I ever played. Okay.
I remember seeing, I feel like you come across that one often. I do see them out in the wild, but not CIB. You ever see any Game Gear games, CIB? I think I've seen like a handful at most.
Oh yeah.
usually loose.
Yeah, not that it's coming to mind.
And then
Actually,
the
yeah.
reason why Game Gear doesn't often last, it's the same reason as like the OG Xbox. It's those capacitors. They need to be recapped. So pretty
Right,
much
right.
if you find out in the wild a Game Gear, chances are it's as is because or untested or four parts because it just needs to be taken apart. It doesn't work because the capacitors, the little battery soldering things on the chipboard need to be resoldered, taken off, and put in new ones, and then it's good to go.
Interesting. Why is everybody waving? Is everyone leaving? You can't leave now. We're so close to the end. I'm just interpreting. I have no idea. Game Gear TV adapter gamer says, yes, I remember. Yeah. It was cool because it was color, but yeah, I think it took C batteries, but it drained those mothers.
That'd be cool. So I didn't even realize there was a TV adapter.
Rusty says, nice. All these games are before my times, but I hope to own a full size pinball machine one day.
See, I like pinball. I like the idea of owning a pinball machine, but they do require maintenance. A lot of those rubbers, they need to be
Whoa, whoa,
changed.
whoa, 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 whoa. It's
The,
important to change the rubbers.
whatever they're called, the pads, all the stuff that the ball bearing bounces off of and stuff. And then there's often like lights and stuff that go, and just the actual playing field needs to be cleaned and whatnot.
Yeah, you want to do yourself a favor. If you are getting a pinball machine, and my buddy Nathan and I were out to lunch the other day, we were talking about this because his wife wants a pinball machine. I said, dude, do yourself a favor, learn about the innards of a pinball because you have to maintain it. Like arcade machines need their own kind of maintenance, but it's a lot less light than a pinball machine. Yeah, if a pinball machine breaks down,
Anything mechanical, stuff that has moving parts,
yeah.
there's wear and tear, right? And it's just bound to eventually go. I'd like to get the 90s golden eye. A lot of moving cool stuff in that James Bond pinball.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think I was telling you the other day that Tilt got the Foo Fighters pinball machine.
No way. No, I didn't know that. You didn't mention that.
Yeah, they got it. And my buddy Taylor works there. And dude, it's like $5,000.
I was gonna say, yeah,
$5,000 for that thing.
What, 7, 8 years ago, I was gonna drive to Ottawa for like 6 to 8 grand, but I'm glad I didn't.
Oh, the Goldeneye was $6 to $8,000.
Yeah, and I'm sure
Oh my
now it's
God.
like 10 grand. Well, remember, or actually, no, you weren't there. So when I was at the Toronto Retro Game Expo, they had a whole pinball thing, and they had like some newer James Bond ones. But yeah, they started at like 10, 12 grand.
So I actually have a poll up for channel members right now on which game that you guys want to see Will and I race against next. Now, JP, I put Zelda and then I put GoldenEye. I want to extend the invite to you if GoldenEye wins to join Will and I in a 3-way race.
I would probably lose that race as
well.
It's been a long time since I played it. I do want to eventually stream. I have pretty much every James Bond game. I just recently beat the Duel. I do have plans to do GoldenEye sooner than later, possibly. And I do. Which Zelda are you guys talking about? Like
NES.
Okay, so
and the race would be. I'm just off the top of my head. It would be to get as many pieces of the Triforce as you can. You get a piece of the Triforce by defeating a dungeon. So that's the fun of it. Zelda would be really open ended.
Which one? The first or the second?
Yeah, NES, first one.
Okay. See, I've never played any of them.
Yeah, that would be.
Wants to go to Tilt tonight.
That would be fun. You want to go to Tilt tonight? Rusty has no room for it. The pinball, 80 hit combo. That's friggin' awesome. Oh, I missed that. You guys are talking about Killer Instinct. I know Raj likes Killer Instinct. Going back up a bit, Den says, Jay, there's guys like me that love pulling systems apart and recapping the boards. Oh yeah, you'd be great at pinball maintenance, dude. For sure. But I just mean like anyone in general. You're thinking about getting a pinball machine. It's a lot of work. Here you go, Cutthroat. This
Matt
is a
says to definitely reuse rubbers.
or don't double up. Okay, I'm gonna just finish. This is a great little piece of comic book history here. We got the death and rebirth of Superman. Superman times 4. Even Elvis didn't get this much speculation. Yes, I remember. It was Cutthroat. This storyline was great. I loved Doomsday and Superman fighting. It was like 6 months. But you guys know I don't like how these 4 Supermen appeared, and it was kind of like one of these are going to be the next Superman. But in reality, it was none of them because Superman wasn't really dead anyway. It's just like so disappointing because I thought it was so ballsy of DC to actually kill Superman. But it didn't really die. So there you go. Oh, here's the stream for one of your movie nights, Josh. Oh.
No, this movie, it's not that good. No, I'm not big on Sylvester Stallone, anyways.
Yeah,
But
same.
Yeah,
Him and Arnie always go head to head, but I find Arnold's movies way better.
way better. Now, I like Demolition Man and I don't know, a few of the Rockies, but
Demolition Man, really, with the 3 seashells. What's up, Kaiju? How you doing, mate?
We actually watched that on Laserdisc a bit ago.
Nice. We have the ending screen for Star Fox. Raj says 110,000, Jay. What's your next celebration? 150, 200. We need a goal, damn it. Oh, buddy, I don't know. I haven't thought about another one. The next milestone for YouTube is 1 million. Like that's.
If I could have that Star Fox doll, like a life size kind of, like a 2-3 footer, that thing would scare the hell out of me.
So there was store displays from back in the day that I've seen from the Super Nintendo era, from this era here, where it was all acrylic, like it wasn't like a Muppet like this is or whatever, right? But they actually had full like Fox McCloud store displays, and I was just like, oh, dude, that's so sick.
Now imagine that one, like kind of like actual fur. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it looks kind of weird. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's, right? Like the animatronic.
Yeah.
Creepy, like what was that pizza place called? Where those are from?
I don't know.
Come on, guys. Not Fluffies, that's Canadian. What was Chuck E. Cheese?
Oh, Chuck E. Cheese.
That's
Yes. It looks something like that. Yes. Man,
that's where the Five Nights at Freddy's idea came from.
Fluffies.
Thank you, HGC. Yeah.
I wish that was back.
Oh, you Londoners remember Fluffies on Springbank? I sure do.
Fluffies was great.
Showtime Pizza. What wasn't it? Wait a minute. Wasn't Five Nights at Freddy's? Wasn't that from Chuck E. Cheese though? Oh, Showbiz and Chuck E. Cheese. Okay. Which Chuck bought out. Okay. I know that's what Nolan Bushnell did after he sold Atari. He went into Chuck E. Cheese, and that's what he did after.
Cool World. Brad Pitt and Kim Basinger. There's Kim Basinger there.
Yeah. I don't know if William Bradley Pitt is in this or not, but
well, he's in the movie.
Yeah.
I have it on VHS, just a loose tape. Well, actually, no, it's like the rental case, like it's a jumbo video case.
Dude, I should share some screens with you on my VHS collection. I'm kind of like you are with Bond, but with Brad Pitt. So like I have like every Brad Pitt VHS, and I have like obscure stuff like I can't even remember the name of it. He did a made-for-TV movie with Juliette Lewis.
Okay.
That I don't even know where I got the VHS. I had to like special order it. But like super, like I got like a VHS copy of Cutting Class, which is like his first movie. Why are we talking about Brad Pitt?
Because he's in Cool World.
I love Brad Pitt.
The first movie I ever saw with him was he was like a track star with his brother.
Oh, track star.
Like a running But his brother's like a druggie, but he winds up being good at running as well.
Oh, I'm trying to remember the Juliette Lewis movie. It's not California, but they did another one. It was I can't remember. I'm ashamed of myself on my Brad Pittness. Shout out to Retro Mags, guys. Please check out retromags.com. As you see, they archive all this incredible gaming history, which is very important. Make sure you check them out. It's a free site, and that's where we get our EGM reads every week. So shout out to Retro Mags.
That's
there you go.
Fact there. Cutthroat Comics says Cool World was the first PG-13 rating. I don't know if I believe him, but that's what he says.
Kaiju said, I actually love Cool World. It was supposed to be something completely different. Kim Basinger ruined it, but the producer and Kim Basinger ruined it. Really? It's called Too Young to Die, the Juliet movie. There we go. Sorry, just came to me.
And the track one that Across the Tracks, 91. Yes.
That's it. That has Rick Schroeder in it, right?
Something like that.
Yes. Whoa. I almost tripped over my light. I got excited.
What is his
Across the Tracks? Woo. Man.
What's Brad Pitt's first movie?
It's got to be that or Cutting Class. Look up Cutting Class. It's a horror movie.
Oh, I'm not big on scary movies.
But although, yeah, I almost felt this light right here, this blue light. It's right behind me because it shines nice.
So Thelma and Louise is 91. A River Runs Through It, 92. Cool World, 92.
Yeah. Then he did after I find like Legends of the Fall and Interview with the Vampire is when he really took off. That's when he became like the
Interview's
heartthrob.
A great movie.
It's 94, I think, for that one.
Something like that.
Ralph Bashki wanted to make a horror movie that was half animated and half live action. It was supposed to be a hard R-rated movie. Kaiju Kitty says, really? I thought Cool World was kind of the response to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because that whole live action with animation was kind of taking off. Interesting, though. I didn't know that at all.
Raj, just because it's a spare room. So everyone's always like, why don't you do something with this? It's like, just storage.
Yeah, there you go. I want to thank my special guest, Josh JP Pepper, for rocking and rolling, for answering the call, the bat signal I put out to him 5 minutes, I think, before we went live. Josh is a great dude, a good buddy, and a friggin' hell of a guitar player. I'm going to give you the spotlight. You can tell everyone where they can find you, my friend.
YouTube and Twitch and any social media, just pretty much Josh JP Pepper, and that's in the chat there now. So appreciate anybody that helps support that.
Make sure you give him a follow on Twitch. Make sure you sub to him on YouTube. Just a hilarious guy. He's got a very dry sense of humor, which I appreciate very much. We're going to be streaming Friday the 13th. Give me a little bit. I say 1:30. Sound good? Come on back here 1:30, and we'll be playing in honor of Friday the 13th. Bat Stan, I know you'll like that a lot. We're going to be Jason in this discontinued game, hipster style, where we get to take out camp counselors. So, guys, thank you for hanging. And for the sake of the chat, this one goes out to you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next stream in half an hour.